Hello, everybody. We're coming to you on a recorded session this time, no live event. We're going to do our mock draft. What's up, Damien? What do you got for him?
What's going on? We are doing our mock draft, getting ready to get this done. I mean, we got the draft coming up in about 1 week away, so roughly around there. So yeah, let's hit it. Listen for your favorite team. Hopefully, you guys can comment, make some comments on our video, and tell us what you think about what we're doing right here. Let's go.
For sure.
Talk that talk, I ain't finna stop. And if you come for me, you better be equipped with a mask. Because my whole family been known to spin the block. See the word, see me here, and I ain't on my own. Whole team, sitting here, bet I ain't on my own. Put in work.
Oh, all right. We'll be back.
All right, we are back. Hey, just real quick, I just want to give a shout out. Our new theme song is from my brother Dez. You can catch him on Spotify. He did that for us. So just want to give a quick shout out to my brother for doing that theme for us.
For sure. That's dope music, man. I like it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the draft. We thought about doing some trading and all that stuff beforehand and decided against it. We want to do it all live. So, in the immortal words, F it, we're doing it live. So, here we go. Here we go, man. I'm going to start the draft and we'll switch over to this other screen. Okay, here we go. So, I am going to be doing the even numbers. You're doing the odds.
Correct.
So pick one. Is this an easy one?
Yep, pick one. Starting off with the Chicago Bears. I don't think there's much doubt left in this. Chicago Bears have pretty much made up their mind, and they are going to be going with Caleb Williams from USC as the number one pick in this draft.
Caleb Williams off the board. All right, so I'm up with Washington. I don't think there's a lot of intrigue with this one either. I think this is going to be Drake May. Not a lot to talk about. They need a quarterback. They wanted Caleb. I think they tried to trade up, and Chicago didn't want to have anything to do with it. So they're going to go ahead and take Drake May. I think he's a lot like the young quarterback there in Tennessee, actually. Very similar guy. And his name is escaping me right now, but very similar two guys. So Drake May is
Revis.
Not what is his name? I'll come back with it.
Levis. Yes, Levis.
I think he's physically a lot like Will Levis, so that's what they're getting.
Okay. So, since you did that actually surprised me because I'm actually thinking Washington was going to go with the LSU quarterback, Daniels.
Oh, okay. Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I think he's number 3 for me. I like Jaden Daniels better than Drake May, but I think Washington's in love with Drake May.
Okay. So we were talking pre-show about what we thought the Patriots are going to do. And the reason why my mindset was there was because I was anticipating Drake or Jaden Daniels going to Washington.
Okay.
Since the Commanders took Drake May, I actually think the Patriots are going to sneak in here now and take Jaden Daniels.
All right.
This is also a possible high trade spot. I mean, I know we both talked about that because the Patriots do have a lot of other needs. But with this move, with Jacoby Brissett as a starter set right now, I believe, Jaden Daniels doesn't have to come in right away. And I believe this will be the spot where if Jaden Daniels is there, I think the Patriots take Jaden Daniels.
I agree, and that's kind of what – I guess I didn't mention his name when we were talking pre-show, but that was who I was assuming was gonna be there for the Patriots. So we'll go ahead and make the pick. Jaden Daniels is a Patriot, and now the Cardinals are on the clock, and the best player in the draft is still available at pick 4. So for me, this is an easy one. I know there's a lot of guys that are talking about Malik Neighbors sneaking into this, and he is more athletic than Marvin Harrison, and that is unquestionable. He's faster. He's just more athletic, period, point blank. But just Marvin Harrison to me is a can't miss wide receiver, and maybe I come back and choke on those words someday, but I don't think so, man. I think he's a generational talent. I think he's an easy can't miss pick. Marvin Harrison is a Cardinal.
Nope, I don't disagree with that. I think you go with the pedigree when it comes to anything that's close. So I would also take Marvin Harrison Jr. if I'm the Cardinals and I'm taking a wide receiver there.
For sure. All right, man. So here we go. You're the Chargers at 5, and they need everything.
Okay.
And
Chargers need everything.
New coach.
Yep. Chargers need everything. Big spot for them. I do think this is a possible high trade destination spot. We do know the Vikings are trying to move up. There's possibility some other teams trying to move up to get a quarterback possibly in this scenario here. But what I think this team is going to do, and I think because Harbaugh got a close look at this guy, I think they're going to go with the Dunze from Washington at the wide receiver spot. Harbaugh got to see him in the national championship game. I think he appreciates them. They got big needs at the wide receiver spot, letting both wide receivers go. So I think you go with Dunze at this spot.
I agree. I like Rome Odunze. He is my second wide receiver in this draft for sure. And he's a Charger. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Good pick. So now you end up here with the Giants, which is an interesting pick because I know a lot of people are thinking they're going to go quarterback, and maybe they do, but you paid Danny Dimes. That's the fact. That coaching staff is probably on the hot seat. Can you afford to give your career or your job over to a rookie quarterback? If you're a coaching staff, do you do that? I don't. I got to try to make it work with Danny. I believed in him enough to go tell the GM, hey, he's our guy, pay him. And so I don't think a JJ McCarthy or a Bo Nix or even a Michael Penix is going to change my fate in New York. So that leaves me to think about either offensive line or wide receiver. Now, you've had some injuries. You got a lot of needs. You have a lot of needs. But you have Malik Neighbors sitting there, and you have Joe Alt sitting there, and you even have Brock Bowers sitting there. So to me, those are the three guys that are in contention for this pick. I can tell you one thing for sure. There's two of those positions that they fall off next time I get a chance to pick. And that's tight end and tackle. I can get the best tackle in this draft right now, and I can get the best tight end in this draft right now. I can't say that for wide receiver, but I can get a good wide receiver later. So I think wide receiver is out for me, even though Malik Neighbors is sitting there. Down to Joe Alt and Brock Bowers for me. I don't see Brock Bowers, even though he is, in my opinion, the other generational talent in this draft. I don't see him changing the fate of a team. Joe Alt, however, can keep your quarterback upright, and you can never miss when you're taking a left tackle, really, as long as he's not a complete and utter bust. It's a good pick because you're strengthening the offensive line. So I am going Joe Alt here.
All right, Joe Alt.
Yep. Best tackle off the board.
All right, so that brings us to the Tennessee Titans. New coaching staff brought in. So they're going to be looking to make some waves with some things. Based on the way this draft has fallen, I think they might have went with Joe Alt if he was there. But with the way that things have kind of fallen with this draft, I think they're going to go ahead and give themselves another weapon on the outside, try to make sure that they are set, especially since Neighbors, I think, was projected to go a little bit higher than where he's at. I think they're going to go Malik Neighbors in this spot right here.
That gives them a loaded wide receiver room, but I could definitely see that. They would probably not expect Malik Neighbors to be available for them at this pick. So he's off the board. And now they have, what do they got? D-Hop, they got Calvin, and now they have Malik Neighbors. And the guy that they drafted like 2 years ago is fighting for number 4 here. So,
yep.
Yeah. All right. Falcons.
Yeah, the problem with that guy is he can't stay healthy is his issue.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and he started out that way. Remember in his rookie training camp, he was like getting tummy aches and stuff. So number 8, real quick, we are at the Falcons pick already, so this draft is moving right along. Number 8, Falcons. I think this one is kind of easy if you're looking at the board and who's available. And, um, it's really a matter of who you value more. I don't think you're taking a tight end because you got a great tight end right there at Atlanta. So Brock Bowers is going to fall one more pick at least. So that leaves you with defensive line and cornerback for their needs. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. I want to go make sure I'm not missing any needs that the Falcons might have before I make a final decision on this pick. But to me, it's corner. To me, the pick is going to be corner unless I see something different on this article over here that I'm kind of using as a reference for team needs. Do you see anything maybe that I'm missing on the Falcons there?
On the Falcons, I've seen defensive line as a possible need for them.
Edge, corner, wide receiver, D tackle, and safety are listed as their needs. For me, I really like Cooper DeJean and Kenyon Mitchell. They're both pretty fantastic players. I don't know how you look past Kenyon Mitchell here. 6 foot 196. He's a junior. He's only 22 years old. He's got really good ratings when it comes to both man and zone coverage. He's a little bit better in man. He plays the run decent enough. Cooper DeJean, a lot to like there as well. I'm going to go with Kenyon Mitchell, though.
Kenyon Mitchell?
Yep.
All right.
Kenyon Mitchell off the board.
All right, so that takes care of Kenyon Mitchell. So we're back to the Chicago Bears. We know the Bears got their quarterback with the way that they are set up right now.
Yes.
Couple different ways they can go, where they can decide to go with this pick here, depending on what they want to do. They got a lot of options here. They could take the best tight end off the board if they want, and Bowers. They could get the best pass rusher if they choose to go that route with it. Which I'm seeing a lot of mock drafts are going after a big pass rusher here. Unless there's something else that I'm missing that they might not have all the way.
So one thing that it says it does do on this mock draft engine is it will tell you who is interested in coming up for pick 9. In this mock draft, they say the Dallas Cowboys are interested in coming up to pick 9. The Chargers are interested in coming all the way up from their second round pick in the Falcons. I don't see any of those happening. Do you?
No, I don't see anything like that happening.
No.
The Cowboys are missing some picks this year for the draft. I don't see them giving up capital to move all the way up there to pick a player. I don't think
may not even have the capital to get it done, even if they wanted to.
Yeah, so that's not something I see the Dallas Cowboys doing whatsoever, as far as that move goes.
Yep.
But if I'm the Chicago Bears, I love what they've done on offense. I think this is the chance where they go after the best defensive player that they want, or edge rusher that they want. You got the choice of sorry, I'm trying to bring up the names really quick. You got Latu.
Yep. He's my favorite edge rusher.
USC, and you got Dallas Turner from Alabama.
And Jared Verse.
From Florida State. On who they have the choices to go with. I think it's going to be a tough decision for them, but like I said, they're going to have the chance to make who they want, and I think they're going to go with Dallas Turner.
Okay.
In this look.
Okay. All right.
Go with the Alabama product.
They go ahead and they skip Latu and they take Dallas Turner. Now, do you see him as a hand down, or do you see him as a 3-4 linebacker? What are you projecting, or do you project him, or is he just an edge rusher and you use him wherever? Because I think Dallas Turner's a 3-4 guy. I think he's an outside linebacker.
No, I just think he's the best pass rusher overall in the draft, just as far as pure pass rushing skills go.
Okay.
So I think that's why they're going to go with him. He's just the overall best pass rusher, and they'll figure out how they want to use him.
All right, Dallas Turner off the board there. and we're at number 10 with the Jets. And there's a whole lot of goodness still on the board here. I don't think that the Jets are going to think about this very long, personally. I also think this is the absolute floor for Brock Bowers. I don't think he makes it past the Jets at 10. I think Aaron Rodgers might kill somebody if they don't take him right here. If he's sitting here and he's like, "Are you kidding me? You guys know why I left the Packers, right?" So I think Brock Bowers is the pick here at 10 for me.
All right, Brock Bowers.
Yep.
I think I kind of had Brock Bowers projected there as well.
Yeah, I don't see him making it past there. I think, honest to God, if they don't want to take Brock Bowers, I think they try to trade out of that pick and let somebody come up and get him. So I think he's going at 10 no matter what.
All right. That puts us at number 11 for the Minnesota Vikings coming up.
Yep.
Now,
McCarthy,
go ahead.
Nix, and Penix still on the board for you.
So you got all three on the board.
Yep.
Not sure how the Vikings are leaning, if they were really over the moon on all three of these quarterbacks here, because I think if they were, they wouldn't have been in such an urgency to move up, is my thought process with them.
Right.
If they were in love with any of these quarterbacks.
Do you think they go with the fan favorite there and take McCarthy? I mean, because there's going to be a lot of people in that region that are big JJ McCarthy fans.
There definitely is. Gosh, that's a good point right there. I don't think they're going to give into that peer pressure. I don't think they're going to give into that peer pressure. I think a lot of the hype about McCarthy is honestly just hype. I hate to say that.
I don't see it with him. I just don't. We talked about this before we started recording. Like, I honestly don't see it with a lot of these quarterbacks in this draft. This quarterback draft isn't a great one for me.
I don't think it's as great as what people say either.
I think Caleb's a bust. I'll just say that right out loud right here so you can clip me later on if you want to. I don't think that dude's very good, man. Like, he's going to struggle.
It's hard. It's hard for me to say quarterbacks are bust or not. I was watching an interview with Bill Belichick, and he did mention that if there is one thing, first-round picks are 50-50 on whether or not they're going to last in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the overall statistical proof of everything, first-round picks are usually 50-50 with it. So some of it's going to depend on the system he gets put in, and that's unfortunately that's the way it is for a lot of players in this type of situation. But for the Minnesota Vikings here, their next pick is at 23. Wow.
Yeah. Do you wait till 23?
You know what? Sorry, give me just a second.
The pressure got to him. He's out of here. Oh, man. So what? No, you're
thing
good,
that's
bro.
going on. Since we're recording, I figured
You're good, bro. You're good, man. So yeah, I'll talk about these three guys while you're doing that, and you can tell me when you're done. I'm gonna pull up the Athletic Matrix. This is the RGR Athletic Matrix. He does a good job of talking about people's athletic abilities. His main film guy is decent. I like him. We don't always agree, but he does a ton of film work. So the top quarterbacks left, you have Michael Penix. He's by far the most athletic quarterback, even though he didn't do a lot of running in college. He has the scouting report says elite arm strength and delivery from the pocket, even if left-handed. Easy comfort throwing into tight windows, pre-snap and processing our NFL caliber with enough legs to escape. Emotional leader. Injury concern seems behind him, but still a factor. You have Bo Nix, who is 78 years old. Evolved to be a premier prospect, understands pre-snap assignments and alignments that allow him to make leverage throws against all defensive systems. Extreme athletic threat with his legs. clean, adaptable mechanics from any platform, and great arm strength, not elite. Highly motivated leader. And then J.J. McCarthy, talented passer, can deliver passes with a clean, tight throwing motion, athletic to break the pocket against first and gain first downs, run RPOs. However, he was untested in a low volume offense, and that leaves a risk. Yeah, so basically what they're saying, untested. I know there's probably a lot of people that are saying, what the hell do you mean untested? They're talking about they just don't throw a lot in that offense, man, so we don't know what he's going to look like. And, hey, they're my buddies back.
Yep, I'm back.
He just didn't throw a lot in that offense. JJ didn't.
No, they didn't. I mean, heck, they played Penn State, and the whole second half they didn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
When they played Penn State. So, I mean, that should tell you a little something right there.
I mean, they're just that close to running the dual wing, man. Like
for that game, they were.
Yeah. I don't know. JJ is not my big. I don't have a crush on him at all.
All right. So, if I'm the Vikings here, this is what I'm doing. I'm not overly thrilled with one of these quarterbacks, and I don't feel like I need to take one of them this high, even if I'm not overly thrilled.
Since you're going to say that, okay, let me just throw in one thing. Like, you think there's any chance that we get a surprise in the first round and Spencer Rattler goes?
No, I don't see Rattler going.
I know think he's better. I think he's better than all three of those guys.
Like, I thought about Spencer Rattler, but I don't. It's a possibility late in the first round if someone trades in. I'll say that, depending on how the quarterbacks fall. I could see that possibly happen.
I don't think anybody's going to take him this high because they're like, well, I can get him later. Everybody's talking about him going in the fourth round. I'll take him in the second. You know,
I could see something like what happened with Lamar Jackson happening with Spencer Rattler if someone's really in love with him that much to where they trade in for that 32nd pick or something like that to get that fifth-year option on the QB.
I don't think anybody takes him until Penix comes off the board.
Exactly. So, as a Minnesota Vikings, I got some needs, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take who I feel like is one of the top tackles on the board. I'm taking that tackle from Penn State, Fashanu.
Yeah, Fashanu, Yep.
If I'm the Vikings, that's who I'm drafting at this point.
Okay, perfect, man. So we'll take Fashanu. I agree with you. He is also my second tackle on the board. I don't think it's all that close. PFF disagrees with me, but they're not right about everything. So here we go. Fashanu, to them, I think that's a great pick for them. And with all those quarterbacks on the board, I think they're hoping one of those guys falls to them at 23, and I think that's a good pick. All right, the Denver Donkeys. So here we are. They need everything because they're a terrible organization. So I had to, man. I had to. It's all in jest. If I get a Broncos fan on here, I'm going to do you guys right. I'm going to make sure you guys get a good player here. I think they take a quarterback. I really do. So for me, if I am thinking about what their coach likes to do, and he likes an intelligent, is he looking for a Drew Brees type of guy? Well, if you're looking for a Drew Brees type of guy, maybe that's J.J. McCarthy. But I think that they are not going to be able to pass up on Michael Penix Jr. here. Just too much to like. He has a really nice-looking ball, very good delivery. He's by far the most athletic quarterback, so you can run a little bit of anything you want, even though he wasn't a runner in college. You can run some RPO stuff. You can run some little bit of option stuff. And I think any kind of play caller is going to want that flexibility. So I think Michael Penix is Bronco.
Before you say that, do you think that's what Sean Payton wants for his offense?
I think Sean Payton is an absolute offensive-minded dude. And the more stuff that he has available to him is the better. Michael Penix isn't known for running that kind of stuff, but just the fact that you can do some of that stuff, I think Sean Payton would absolutely do that. I see him doing that. And it's like Penix is not a scrambling quarterback anyway, so you're happy that he has the escape tools and that he wants to look down the field and throw the ball, and ultimately that's what Sean Payton likes to do is throw the ball. So I think Penix will fit in there pretty well, and they've had left-handed quarterbacks there before that they didn't make the best of, but whatever. We'll see.
All right.
So Penix is off the board.
All right. Next up is the Raiders.
The Raiders.
We got the Raiders coming up. Man, a couple different ways I think the Raiders could go. But I'm pretty locked in. I think I know who I want the Raiders. If I'm the Raiders, I think I know who I'm going for. Raiders got a pretty decent pass rush already set up. We got a defensive-minded head coach. We want some guys that can do some coverage. I'm taking Terrion Arnold from Alabama if I'm the Raiders in this spot.
Woo! Cooper DeJean gets skipped right over, and we're going Terrion Arnold right here.
This is the reason why I did that skip. This is the reason. Cooper was a mostly zone coverage type guy, where Terrion Arnold is better at a little bit more in man-to-man, and Cooper's coming off the injury as well. So that's the reason why I'm going with Terrion Arnold. Not that Cooper's bad, but I'm doing a lot of this based on the scheme a little bit here that they ran in college a little bit more.
He is a white guy at corner. All right, I had to say it, man. I'm sorry. Terrion Arnold, it is. I totally understand the pick. I'm just giving you a little crap.
No, I know.
Yeah, man. I get it. And Terrion Arnold has a lot to like. I think that is a very Raiders pick, man. I like that. I think they'll be happy with that. They got a lot of needs to fill. I think some Raiders fans will want to see a quarterback there, but if you don't love one of those guys and think he's your next guy, then why force it?
Exactly. That's my thought process. You can't afford to really – I don't think you can afford to miss on a QB in the first round if you're not in love with the guy.
No.
So
you end up with the Saints here, another team that needs a quarterback. But do you love the quarterbacks? Do you want to make that happen? I don't know, man. Like the Saints,
do you think the Saints need a quarterback when the Saints have Carr? They're not an overly big need to go with a quarterback in round one.
I don't think so either. And like I was gonna get to that actually. I'm a reluctant Derek Carr fan, actually. I think he is extremely underrated. I think he gets way more credit for losses and stuff like that than he deserves. I think he's a well beyond serviceable quarterback. We live in a league where freaking Tua is a Pro Bowl quarterback. So if we live in that league, then Derek Carr is a phenomenal quarterback. So I don't see him taking a quarterback here. Wide receiver, offensive line. This is a very deep tackle class. I think tackle is their biggest need, personally. So I am going to be looking at the available tackles. You have a couple guys, but I am going to go with the Oregon State product and I'm going to butcher his name, but Fuaga. Talisi Fuaga is going to be a Saint. So that's my pick. You're up with the Colts, my friend.
Sorry, just trying to find them on the board really quick. Fuaga, there he is. Okay, the tackle.
Yep.
Got him.
Yep. Talisi Fuaga. I like him a lot. I could see him falling, but to me, he's the number 3 tackle. And then Fontana is right there as well. So we'll see.
Gotcha.
It's kind of a preference thing at that point.
All right, give me just a second. Oh, man. I don't know if I can reset this. Sorry.
No worries, man.
No, we're good. I'll just have to keep track of it myself.
Okay.
Couple different ways the Colts can go with this. They need a defensive back. They could go with the playmaking wide receiver. They could go with an edge rusher. I think the Colts are a little bit open all over the place here a little bit.
Yep. They're the best player available, in my opinion.
I do believe this is where your boy's going to come off the board. Assuming his medicals and everything comes back cleared where teams feel comfortable taking him. This is where I think Cooper DeJean comes off the board.
Okay. I think that's a great pick. I think it's great value. He's rated much higher on most boards as far as talent-wise. That doesn't mean that's where he'll go.
Yep.
So I think getting him at pick 15 is a pretty great value. I think you're pretty happy with Cooper there. And even the great thing about him going to the Colts, I don't know if you agree with me on this, is even if you feel like maybe corner isn't his final destination, moving him to safety is not a big deal for them.
Right. You brought up the safety move, not me.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I'm just saying. Like he does have some athletic limitations. But yeah, I think that's a good fit for him there. All right, Seahawks, the Sea Chickens. Here we go. So I don't know where they're going. I kind of expected them to make some moves this offseason to kind of reset the roster a little bit. I fully expected them to release Tyler Lockett because he's getting a little long in the tooth. The dude can still play, don't get me wrong, but they're paying two wide receivers a whole lot of money. And is Geno your answer quarterback? I think that's a bridge quarterback, But you need a lot of offensive line help, interior offensive line help. You need a lot of help on defense. You need D-line. You need corners. So I think if Cooper DeJean had fallen past you at 15, I would have taken him here. Since he didn't fall to me, I think this is a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going to take who I think the best pass rusher in the draft is, and that's Latu from UCLA.
Man, I had Latu about to go to Jacksonville. I got to adjust. Not going to lie. I had Latu.
Yeah. I think he's an elite pass rusher. Whether him or the Alabama guy will be better it's up in the air, but I think if you're the Seahawks, you're pretty elated, and you may feel like you got the best pass rusher in the draft. So,
all right, so that brings us to the Jacksonville Jaguars. One just quick note while I'm looking up something for the Jaguars. Don't forget, Seattle also brought in Washington Commanders quarterback from last year. They traded for him this year.
Oh, correct. Yeah, yep. They have him in
so
to compete a little bit and most likely be the backup, but to compete. So
yep. So that's just a heads up with that.
For sure.
Jacksonville, I think they might surprise some people here with what they're going to be looking for. I do think they need some offensive line help, but I don't know if they go this high. I don't think there's anyone that they necessarily fall in love with here on the offensive line side a little bit, especially the interior offensive line. You usually don't go that high at this spot with it.
Although you could go center, the Oregon center is really, really nice, but yes, it is a little high to go interior offensive line.
Yep. So what I'm thinking they're going to do here is they're going to booster this defense up a little bit.
Well, they got a couple D tackles sitting there that are pretty nice.
Yep, exactly. And I think they're going to go with Byron Murphy from Texas. Is who I got coming off the board here, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're going to boost that D-line up because they did add some players. Who did they add at wide receiver this year on the offseason? I don't know why it's drawn blank in my mind off the top of my head.
That's a good question, man. I can't answer it right at the moment. We're taking Byron Murphy, though. Let me look that up because that's a valid question. I don't think they have any needs at wide receiver, though.
No, they don't.
And did they keep the tight end?
Yep, the tight end is from the Giants. Wasn't Noah Fant. He's in Seattle.
It wasn't Noah Fant?
No, it's Ingram. Ingram's their tight end.
Sorry, I was thinking Seattle. My bad. I get a little discombobulated.
Ingram's their tight end, the one that used to play for the Giants.
I love Ingram. I like that kid a lot, man. Like speed dude at tight end. Pretty athletically gifted guy. And yeah, Jacksonville, who did they add at wide receiver?
They added someone, and it's just blanking my mind right now, and I cannot think of who it is. But
well, I just want to look is bothering me as well, and it's not like we're on a dead
Yeah,
heat for time here. Let's see.
that's true.
They added a tight end. They added Eric Armstead. I didn't remember that one. Ronald Darby, Gabe Davis. They added Gabe
That's
Davis.
it. Gabe Davis. Yeah, that's who they added.
Okay, I like that piece for them. That's a nice piece for them. So the Byron Murphy pick, in my opinion, I think that's a fantastic pick because you got the best interior defensive lineman, at least film-wise, in the draft. I have a little bit of concerns about Byron with size. He's a little short, but other than that, the dude's got no holes, man, in his game. So good pick, man. I think we are on to the Bengals now. I got to pick for all these AFC rivals.
That's kind of crazy how that's fallen.
Yeah, man. So the Bengals, they had to let some guys walk, and I think they still see themselves as a team that's going to challenge the Chiefs in the AFC and go to this next Super Bowl. I feel like they think as long as Joey Burrow is healthy, that they belong in the Super Bowl, and it's hard to argue with that because you got to give credit where credit is due, and that's a fantastic football team. So, do you try to replenish the cupboards for Joey Burrow? You could do that. I think they will probably go with an offensive line pick myself because I think that's the priority. So I'm going to take Troy Fautanu out of Washington, the tackle. They can go ahead and now a lot of people are going to say, well, they got Orlando Brown, and Orlando Brown has made it very clear he wants to be a left tackle and only a left tackle. I think you can take Troy, and that's fine. You can take Troy and you can put him on the right. You can put him anywhere you want him, and ultimately, Orlando is under contract, and you can say go play right tackle. So I think they won't hesitate. They'll take their guy, and they get Troy Fautanu. You get
All right,
the Rams.
LA Rams.
Yeah.
Picking for one of our normal contributors, Mr. Arturo Andrade here.
Yeah, man.
He is a huge Rams fan.
Yeah, what's up, Art? We know you hopefully are watching, and we'll see if he does you right with the pick here.
All right. So the Rams notoriously usually don't have a first-round pick. So this is kind of some brand new ground for them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be in the need to replace Aaron Donald's retirement. I know they knew he was coming into it, so there's a couple different things they could do. One, they could draft a potential replacement for Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they feel like they're close this year. And with the Rams' mindset of picking for the present more than picking for the future, playing for the future, they play for the present more. I think they're going to take Newton from Illinois to kind of help fill that void.
Yeah, Jerzon Newton
on the defensive line. Yeah.
I like that pick. He's definitely 1A, 1B with Byron Murphy as far as interior line goes. So it should be an awesome pick there for the Rams. A little bit kind of built similar to Aaron Donald, 6'2", 295. So not a huge, big, hulking D lineman, but he can move a little bit. So that'll be a good pick there, man. So Jerzon Newton comes off the board for the Rams. And we're on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now I'm picking for one of my buddies, Kyle. He has ADHD, so he won't watch the video this long. he'll never see this pick. But I think they certainly have a need at wide receiver, having traded away Johnson. Is it Johnson? It's Johnson, right?
Sorry. They traded away Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. All right, and this is a wide receiver heavy draft, man. There's a lot of guys sitting here available. You got A.D. Mitchell out of Texas, who's got great size. He's like 6'2", about 205, 210, and runs a 4.3 40. There's a lot to love about that. But is A.D. Mitchell going to be a replacement for a guy that was Deontay Johnson and more of a slot receiver? No, not really. Brian Thomas, he's another big, deep threat receiver. And you kind of already got that on the roster. Troy Franklin, maybe a little too early for him. So what else do the Steelers need? Well, they like to run the football. That's always been a part of their identity. And the offensive line definitely needs help with the Steelers. So I think they'll probably peek at the wide receivers. It wouldn't surprise me if they take one of these guys if they really like one of them. But I think that they're probably going to be in on a tackle here. Shore up that offensive line. Would you agree?
Oh, I definitely see that's a way that they could go with this. I wouldn't rule out a wide receiver spot as well, but
definitely not. Yeah, definitely not ruling it out. I'm just thinking in Tomlin's brain and trying to think like a Steeler. I think they want to be tough, run the football, lean on their defense. And I could see them definitely go and tackle. So with that being said, let's take a look at tackle and interior offensive line because I don't think it's too early to take an interior offensive lineman either at this point. So you have J.C. Latham out of Alabama, the big tackle. You have Amarius Mims. And then you start getting into guys like Graham Barton, who is listed as a tackle, but I believe will be kicked inside to play guard. So you could think about that guy. You could think about Amarius Mims out of Georgia, 6'7", 340, just a huge hulk of a man, which just kind of seems like a Steeler to me, and he plays right tackle. And then J.C. Latham, the dude, 6'6", 335, also just a mountain of a man. And he's played right tackle and right guard. So I think they're going to get a right tackle here. I think personally they're going to go Amarius Mims over J.C. Latham, even though J.C. Latham is rated higher on most boards. I just like Amarius Mims a little better, and he's really good in pass protection as well. So that's a bonus. I'm going Amarius Mims for the Steelers.
Amarius Mims. Sorry, what position is he playing? I apologize.
He's a right tackle.
Right tackle. Just want to make sure I get that mark. I was on my interior offensive line.
Yep. Right, Amarius Mims, right tackle.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, that brings. Or go ahead.
Brings us to the Dolphins for your pick.
All right, Miami Dolphins. If you look at the way this team played last year, they had a lot of injuries on the offensive line.
Yep.
So, offensive line could definitely be a spot where they're going to be looking to get a little bit more versatile. New defensive coordinator coming in as well. So that's a possibility that they might do some things there.
Jared Verse is sitting on the board.
Yep, I was looking at him for this Miami Dolphins look. Man, it's kind of there's a few different ways I feel like they could go with this. As far as the Dolphins go, I think they're going to want to really shore up that offensive line, though. I think that's where they're going to want to go. But you know what? I'm going to take Jared Verse.
Gotcha. I think that's a great pick, honestly, man. I think Jared Verse is great value at pick 21. I think that dude is an absolute manimal. So they got him a good edge rusher, and he also plays the run pretty well. So That's a nice pick for them. All right. I get the Eagles.
Yay.
So, So, I mean, walk me through this, man, because you know the Eagles better than I know the Eagles. I see a lot of people listing the Eagles as a wide receiver need, and how? How?
No, they just locked up Smith in that
Yeah,
contract. I don't see them messing
they
around
need
taking a wide
corners,
receiver in
right?
the first round. Cornerback is where the Eagles were hurt at last year. That's
Yeah,
where they really struggled at a lot last year. I could
yeah.
see them going there, or if there's a pass rusher that they really love, I could see them going there. They do need some linebacker depth. I don't know if there's any real linebackers that stick out for this first round.
There's a couple of guys that could go as far as linebackers. There's guys that have, you know how draft season is, man, where the
Yep.
boards are trying to. What it really is people are saying that people are falling up and down boards and all that. What it really is the media is catching up with the league and trying to figure out what the league has been thinking for a while, probably. So I don't think they'll go with a linebacker this early. Most of the really good linebackers are anywhere from the end of the first round to the beginning of the third round. So I think that'll be a no for them. Corner, there's some very interesting guys right here for them. And, you know, I know probably a lot of Eagles fans will be drooling for Nate Wiggins because he's a height, weight, speed guy. And, you know, I mean, the dude's everything that you'd want. He's 6'2", 185 pounds. And, you know, everybody's going to point to the 4.240 that he ran. Which matters, but there's other things as far as athletics that matter more than a 40-yard dash. But in this case, the dude is a pretty good man corner, decent zone corner. He played really, really well last year. Only 2 picks. One of them he took back for a touchdown. So I like Nate Wiggins a lot. There's another guy in this draft though, Kool-Aid McKinstry. And the dude is a beast. He's more of a zone guy, 6'1", 195, a little bit bigger, a little bit more of an NFL body, in my opinion.
Mm. So the one thing that I'll ask you to consider is the fact that they got old boy from the Dolphins as a defensive coordinator.
Okay, yeah, that does make a
So
difference.
yeah,
Yeah,
just for something to consider with that.
yeah. I don't know. What's he prefer? Is he a zone guy?
He's more of that too high shell look.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
he's the one that was really big and kind of getting that started a little bit. I don't know, his name's escaping me, so I do apologize for that. For anyone that
yeah.
remember that, but he was the one that really started that too high shell look when he was in Denver as their defensive coordinator.
Oh, okay. Got you. Oh, you're talking about. Gosh, man, his name
Yeah,
is.
he's a real popular defensive coordinator. I can't think of what the heck his
Oh
name
my
is.
goodness! All right, we got to go ahead and we got to look that up right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
Vic Fangio.
okay, Vic Fangio,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fangio.
Okay, and yeah, Fangio is I think he's a great defensive coordinator. I was curious to see. I don't know why he's bouncing around the league so much. Do you know?
So this situation for him was this is what's great. He was supposed to be the Eagles defensive coordinator last year. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl, so the hiring process stalled, and the Eagles didn't know they were going to lose their defensive coordinator until the very last moment. And he had already signed with Miami at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami actually did him a favor, and it wasn't that they fired him. He said he's close to the end of his career and he wants to be closer to his family. So that's why he's in Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah, so Vic Fangio, if I remember right, he's one of the cover 6 guys, right? Like he likes that.
Yep.
So I would think, in my opinion, that he would probably like Kool-Aid a little bit better from Alabama. They play a lot of cover 6 at Alabama, cover 3. They do all the match stuff. So I'm going to go Kool-Aid McKinstry here. for this pick with the Eagles. And there may be some guys that are mad at me with that that are Eagles fans, and they want the supreme athleticism of Nate Wiggins. But I think that's a better fit for your defense.
All right, so Kool-Aid is off the board.
Yep. Now we're back to the Vikings at 23.
All right. So now the Vikings are at 23. I think they're going to run to the board, the draft podium with this pick, because the fact that J.J. McCarthy, while I'm not as huge on him as other people are, I think this pick right here will actually fit the Vikings for this need. And I think they run to the board and put it in for J.J. McCarthy, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's an easy pick for them. I mean, they're pretty happy. He's a semi-local, regional guy, so I think the fans will be happy, and they will have gotten over the fact that you skipped him at 11 if you get him at 23.
Yeah, and the fact that they got Sam Darnold there, everyone knows he's not the greatest, but he's there to where you don't have to throw McCarthy in right off the bat if you don't need to.
Correct. All right, so I am sitting here at 24 as the Dallas Cowboys, my friend.
Yep. I want to hear your thoughts on where you think they should go.
Oh, man. All right, so running back is a need, but we don't draft running backs this high anymore. It's just not a thing. And I actually love the running back talent in this draft, but I just think you would be silly to draft a running back in the first round because they're all going to be available in the second or third. So that's an out for me. Wide receiver, tackle. You can go. Did you guys lose Biadasz, or is he still there?
No, Biadasz is in Washington now.
Okay, so you need a center. You need everything on the offensive line, basically, right? Am I wrong there?
Kind of. So the way the situation is we got Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, his rookie year, actually started at left tackle for the Cowboys.
Yep.
So if the Cowboys want, when Tyron Smith was hurt.
Yep.
So if the Cowboys want, they can push Tyler Smith out to tackle.
Did you like him at left tackle?
I like him more as a guard, personally.
Okay.
But his versatility, he didn't do bad at left tackle, so that's why it's not a horrible concern for me if that happens. The reason why Biadasz is gone is because Dallas really likes his backup. I believe it's Ball, if I remember right. I cannot remember his first name. I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
So they were comfortable letting Biadasz go because of what they did. Now this guy Ball, he can play guard or center. So depending on what Dallas wants to do, they can make some moves, if that makes any sense. So if the Cowboys go tackle, they put Ball at center. Tyler Smith stays at guard. If they go center, then they just push everybody out to the left one.
Okay. So who do you have? Are you comfortable at right tackle is my question.
It's Terrence Steele. He didn't have a great year last year whatsoever. He was coming off a torn ACL. This will be Terrence Steele's prove-it year as far as staying as a Dallas Cowboy after this year.
Are you paying him any significant amount of money?
Not significant. He's underpaid for what a top right tackle would get. But he just signed he signed an extension last year, the year before last.
So would it be a weird move?
He's under contract.
If they drafted a right tackle, would it be a weird move?
Not overly, because Terrence Steele can play both sides. I don't think they want him to, but he can play both sides if they actually needed him to. He started off his career as a swing tackle for Dallas.
Okay. So, I mean, you can go a lot of different ways. You can go defense with this pick as well. And Nate Wiggins is sitting there, and you could also trade. And I did look at who was interested in trading up, and it wasn't anything I was willing to do with this pick. The first team in line to trade up was Tennessee at 38, and I just don't see them going that far back with this pick, 14 picks back. Depending on what Tennessee might want to cough up to come up here, I don't think I would be willing to come back that far unless I'm getting a whole haul of picks.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of leaves me with J.C. Latham, who is a right tackle only, in my opinion. I don't think he can play left tackle, but he's a very good right tackle. and that leaves me with Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon, the center, who is very, very good at center. And I'm tempted by both of these guys, but I just think there's always a little more value at tackle than there is at any interior line position, including center. And hearing you say that they got a guy that they kind of already like and that already plays center and is familiar with everybody, I think J.C. Latham is the pick here.
You believe Latham is the pick? Let's see.
I'm
just trying. I'm reading on the. Let's see. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. I hear you.
No, I think they might do it. I don't have anything overly against him. He's big. He's physical.
What would you want if you were the one taking the pick?
To be perfectly honest, if Latham was still on the board at this pick, because I've seen him go anywhere from number 10 in the draft down to 18 in the draft.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen, he hasn't been on the board this late. I don't know if I would want. Yeah.
I just couldn't pass on tackle that really probably shouldn't have been there at that pick. The tackle is such a high value, and if you have the ability to kick somebody over to the left side, I just can't pass on tackle at that pick.
Yeah. No, I could see this. I'm good with it. I could see that being a pick for the Dallas Cowboys.
The other guy you might think about is Graham Barton, because they list him at tackle, but I don't think he'll be a tackle in the NFL.
Yeah. So the Dallas Cowboy draft guide has him listed as a center.
Yeah. So, yeah, Graham Barton, Jackson Powers Johnson. I could see any one of those guys going. I could see Nate Wiggins going to you guys, which I don't know. I just think you're okay at corner. Mm-hmm. I don't think you need to spend a first round pick there. You're okay at corner.
Yeah, I don't see Dallas going after that.
Linebacker, but there's not anybody really fitting for that pick there. And then D-line, like all the interior guys have kind of already gone. You know, if Jerzon Newton or somebody fell to the Cowboys at 24, I think they'd run to the board. But you took Mozzie Smith last year too, so how did he turn out?
He lost a bunch of weight during the season, which is what Dallas didn't want him to do. So we're going to see if he beefs up a little bit. And the biggest issue for Mozzie Smith last year for the Cowboys, if you watch film on him, is he was always the last guy off the ball. Last guy, once the ball was snapped, he was slow reacting, which being a defensive tackle, you cannot be as slow as he was reacting to the ball.
So I would say, I mean, the only interior defensive lineman that I passed on that I think is worthy of a first round pick, and I wouldn't say I have him graded as a first round pick, is Braden Fisk out of Florida State. I really like him. I like what I saw at the Senior Bowl, but he's also 24 years old.
Yeah.
I just don't see that pick. And it falls down, kind of precipitously after that. So I just don't see an interior D-line pick. So I went away from defense. I think offensive line's the pick, man.
No, I'm good with that. If J.C. Latham is there, I think the Cowboys actually go to the board happy with that.
Yep.
So I agree with that.
Packers. What do you got?
They're going to draft a punter.
Man.
So what needs do you have for the Green Bay Packers? I got offensive line, interior defensive line, and safety are the positions that I got listed.
Correct. Let me check. That's what I see as well. Let me check the other source I'm using as well to see if that matches up with what they're saying. Because I don't want to overlook, a glaring need that, these fans of these teams would know about and be yelling and screaming about. So they list linebacker as a heavy need for them, corner, guard, offensive tackle, safety, and running back. So if corner is a heavy need for them, this is another spot where you could be thinking about Nate Wiggins.
From Clemson?
Yeah. Yep. And I know all the, I guess Carrington Valentine showed a little promise. opposite of Jair Alexander in his rookie season, but they still have room to address the position, is what this other article says. So it's a need, but there's probably fans out there that are happy with Valentine, and there's probably some that are like, "Hey, go get the athletic dude,"
Yep.
So offensive line is never a sexy pick, and we've been doing a lot of offensive line, but you can't play without them.
No. And I could see this possibly being a little bit of a mini run for offensive linemen right now, starting to come off the board a little bit this late. Teams making sure they get that fifth-year option on those offensive linemen as well.
Yep. So Graham Barton makes some sense here because they need a guard and a tackle. So Graham Barton, you could take him and say, let's find out which one he plays.
Trying to think of, if I'm the Packers, I'm going to probably shore up the offensive line a little bit. I'm thinking they're going to go tackle here.
Okay. Let me show you who's available. So the problem is a lot of the guys that are available could be kicked in. So Graham Barton, Jordan Morgan, both are candidates to get kicked inside. And then you have Tyler Guyton, who is definitely a tackle. Kieran out of Yale and Sumataya out of BYU are kind of the next available tackles. So it is getting thin in the tackle market. Mm-hmm. So that may push them to, hey, we got to get a guy.
Did you say they also might need a guard a little bit?
Yes. So that's why I would think that Jordan Morgan or Graham Barton might be in play because they could fill either one of those.
I was thinking I was going to go Jordan Morgan because of that.
Okay. All right. I definitely
that's why I could see them taking at that pick. Yep.
Okay. Jordan Morgan comes off the board to the Packers. I think that's a good pick for them. He has position versatility. And who knows what he ends up playing. He might play tackle for them. He might get kicked inside. And either way, I think they're happy. So
yep.
That's a nice pick because when you can take a guy that either way it turns out he fills a need for you, I think you have a higher chance of success at that pick.
Yep.
So,
and if you look at like linemen like Larry Allen, he started at guard, moved to tackle eventually.
Yeah.
So I mean, things like that can happen for players. Or actually, I'm sorry, I think he started at tackle and moved to guard.
Yeah. That's typically the move.
Yeah.
That's typically the move is to move from tackle to guard, and I mean one of the greatest guards of all time, Larry Allen. So strong at that position. He had that tackle strength at guard.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Dude was a beast.
Yeah. Just absolute monster. So Tampa Bay, we got another one of our friends of the show that's a huge Tampa Bay fan.
Yep. Mr. Marlon Mickles.
Yep. So I gotta do good for him, man. I gotta do good for him because he's always supporting the show. I see a need at edge, corner, center guard, wide receiver, and running back.
Yeah, they had a bunch of needs.
Yeah. Now they have wide receivers. I mean, they were able to keep Evans. So I don't know if wide receiver is a round one need for them. But you have to at least think about A.D. Mitchell sitting here at 26 because I think he's a value. He's a very good, very talented, very athletic guy. You have to at least think about A.D. Mitchell. The offensive line, they need a center. So you're starting to think about Jackson Powers Johnson. We're thinking about Nate Wiggins here. We got a number of directions that we could go. And then tackle. So here's the problem. And like you said, there's a run, right? So do you get a little panicked in the draft room when you start to see all the tackles coming off the board and you still need one?
For me, it depends on the drop off from the next best tackle to the next best defensive back, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it depends on that drop off. Do you believe however deep the tackle room is compared to how deep the quarterback picks are?
And I'm sorry, I mean neither one of these lists is listing tackle as a need for them. So maybe that's something I should just ignore at tackle. But they are listing guard and center as needs for them.
Yep, I've
Uh,
seen that.
So, there's some really good wide receivers here. There's Brian Thomas. There's Adonai Mitchell. Jackson Powers Johnson, I really like him, man. Like, that's a powerful dude. And this is right around in the area where, if you don't take him, maybe the Cardinals do. Nate Wiggins is a supreme athletic ability. And who's their head coach now down there?
The old defensive Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is the head coach.
Gotcha. So Todd Bowles is going to take Nate Wiggins. I'm going.
That's who I was thinking.
I'm going Nate Wiggins. So Nate Wiggins at corner. I think everybody. I hope all the Bucks fans will be happy with that pick. You got one of the best athletes in the draft. 4'2", 40, 6'2". A little bit light in the britches at 175 or whatever, but maybe you put 5-10 pounds on him and live with a 4'3" instead of a 4'2". But I think everybody should probably be pretty happy with that pick.
Correct. All right, so the Cardinals are now on the board. I'm the Arizona Cardinals. I had Nate Wiggins' name in my hand as a Cardinal. But you took him away. So based on needs here, I'm going to go with the best center that's available. Is what I'm going to do. I'm going Jackson Powers from Oregon.
Gotcha. Great pick, Jackson Powers Johnson. He was starting to just eat at me. Like every pick for the last couple picks is like, do I take him? Because I really like Jackson Powers Johnson. So I think Cardinals fans should be ecstatic with that pick. And I think they got a dude that should be their center for the next 8 to 10 years. So pretty cool pick there. And then I get another AFC rival. So it's just keep coming. The Buffalo Bills. I've said on the show before, I don't really have any problems with Bills fans. I don't feel like this is a bitter rivalry. A rivalry, well, yeah, sure, but a bitter one.
It's one-sided. Of course, you feel that way. why should you have anything against Bills fans?
Fair enough, man. But I do actually feel for these guys. I think they've had a rough offseason.
Yeah.
As a Bills fan, how are you not really upset with everything that's going on? You got wide receiver as a need. You've got DB is a big, huge need. You have everything's a need, man. How many guys did they let go?
My opinion on the Bills is this, and this is why they did what they did. I think they figured we had everything we wanted last year to take on the Chiefs. The Chiefs were supposedly in a down year. And when we had everything we wanted, home field advantage, we had our wide receivers, we had a running game, we had all that. We didn't get the job done. No reason to keep paying these guys. Let's reload and just see what happens at that point. That's my opinion on Buffalo for what happened.
That's very kind. I think they mortgaged their future and the bill came due. And they had to cut people just to fix their salary cap position. And for some reason, I don't know why Von Miller's still on that team. He hasn't done anything for them.
Yeah. That's a surprising move to me, too.
I don't understand how he was the one that got restructured and kept. I don't get that.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there because they had a way to get out of that contract and save a lot of money.
They did, and he would have been my first cut if I were them. But they went in a different direction, and they cut a whole bunch of other, to me, guys that were faces of their franchise for the last, or at least for this era of the Bills. So I don't know, man. I feel for the Bills fans because they're seeing a lot of fan favorite, familiar faces go away in free agency and get released, and that's got to be kind of a bummer feeling, man. So I want to make a pick for the Bills that they feel good about and they feel excited about, give them some excitement. I want them to have somebody that they can really look forward to seeing and put their hopes on. They're listing wide receiver as their biggest need, and I don't disagree with that. So I'm going A.D. Mitchell here, as much as I would love to see him
Okay.
drop down to the Chiefs. He's kind of my draft crush. I think he's a good fit for them. He's 6'2", 205, runs a 4.3 40, has a good route tree. He's a number one receiver at Texas, even though he had Worthy on the other side. So pretty excited about adding him. I think the Bills fans should be excited. That's a good weapon for Josh Allen. So that's my pick.
Don't disagree with that. There's a few different ways they could go. I don't disagree with that pick at all.
Yep. There you go,
All right.
man. So you're a lion now. What do you do as a lion?
Oh, man. Detroit Lions. They're so unconventional lately when it comes to the draft because they don't care necessarily about where players are ranked.
Mm-hmm.
They care about what they need and what they're going to get.
Yeah.
So with that said,
what they need is a secondary.
it is what they need. But
they also need edge, D-tackle, wide receiver, guard.
That's what I'm thinking. They only had one guy as a pass rusher last year.
Yeah.
They only had one guy that could effectively do that, and everyone knows a great pass rush can help out a secondary.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Because Hutchinson was he was all they had as a pass rusher last year. So, with that, I'm trying to decide, who do you got ranked as your top defensive edge rushers?
For me, PFF has Adisa Isaac and Chop Robinson, both the Penn State guys, up there at the top. Mm-hmm. I would say Chop Robinson is my next dude. I mean, he's an athletic freak. Let me pull up the athletic matrix just real quick. And then, I think that dude ran like a 4.4 40. Not that matters at defensive end, but it does just kind of illustrate that the guy is extremely athletic. So, Chop Robinson could be a dude. Hold on one second. Yeah, so Chop Robinson ran a 4.48.
Yep, that's what I got listed.
Yeah. And then I'm going to pull up the athletic matrix really quickly here and try to look what they got him at on the athletic matrix.
Yeah. 4.25, 20-yard shuttle.
I mean, that dude's moving. And he's not light in the pants either. The dude's got some weight to him. He's not undersized or anything like that, in my opinion. Let's see here. Let's go. It's a huge athletic matrix, so give me a second. Those are the interior defensive linemen. Let me get past them. And see, there's another guy on the edge rankings that everybody continually keeps listing as an edge rusher. And I don't really understand why. And that's the kid out of Missouri with, let's see, what's his name? Darius Robinson. To me, he's a 3 technique.
Is that who you're talking about?
Darius Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, Darius
to me,
Robinson.
He's a 3 technique all day long, in my opinion. I don't know what people are looking at. He played edge at Mizzou, but that doesn't mean he's going to play edge in the league.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to edge. Jonah Ellis, Chris Braswell, then Darius Robinson. Jalix Hunt is a guy that's been coming up a lot, but I don't think he's anywhere near a first-round pick. Austin Booker out of KU is a guy, but I don't think he's a first-round pick either. I think your guy's worthy of a first-round pick or the Chop Robinson, really.
Yeah, that's who I'm actually leaning toward right now. If I'm Detroit, that's who I got on my mind. That's who I'm going up to the podium with. Unless someone wanted to trade into the first round, maybe I take a step back a little bit. But
let's look. So the Carolina Panthers are interested in trading back or trading up into the first round. They are sitting at pick 33. So you just moving back a few picks here, and would you be interested in? Let's see. I could get you pick 33, pick 101, and pick 141. Would you be interested in that?
To take a step back,
To take a step back to 33.
yeah, if I'm Detroit, I probably would do that trade.
All right, let's pull the trigger on that, man, just for fun.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
haven't had
'cause-
any trades. I think it's unlikely to have 0 trades all the way to pick 29. Like
Yep.
somewhere in there should have
There's-
probably been a trade already. But
Yeah, probably so.
here we go. We picked. Now the Panthers are up. Who are you taking if you're a Panther?
All right, now that I got to take a look. Well, they need help everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
they need help everywhere. If they're trading into the first round, I'm assuming it's to get a playmaker.
Yep.
Because they're going to want that 5th-year option. So with that said, they're trading up in the first round to get Brian Thomas Jr.
No.
They wanted him. They did this move to get ahead of the Baltimore Ravens. Is the one
Yeah.
reason why they did this move, to make sure they could get this guy.
And this is a nightmare scenario for the Chiefs, man, because the Ravens are probably thinking wide receiver as well.
Yep.
So now you're sitting there where, okay, the next 2 picks could be receivers. And if you're a Chiefs fan, you want a receiver. So Brian Thomas Jr., I completely agree with that pick. That's a great pick. Great fit for them. He'll look good in a Panthers uniform. The Panthers take Brian Thomas Jr., and the Chiefs have to gut it out. All right. The Ravens. And I think this is a situation where the Chiefs would probably be interested in trading, but not going to get any love from the Ravens. Probably wouldn't get any love from the Lions either. So Ravens are going to sit here. There's a whole bunch of people that want to trade up to this pick. I just think they'll probably stay right here. That hurt them. That was painful. The way the season ended for them. I'm thinking they're going to add somebody that's explosive and a playmaker and going to make a difference in that offense, and that's Troy Franklin out of Oregon. So Speed Demon, he didn't run a fantastic 40-yard dash. I think he ran slower than what he plays on the field. He ran a 4.4, but I think he's much faster on the field. So Troy Franklin is a Raven.
Troy Franklin. So that gives them, that kind of sets their offense up, especially for the future. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and then you're going to add another wide receiver to that core.
Yep, and Troy. I like Troy because he's 6'3", 190, and like he can move. So.
Yep, and they're loaded at tight end, so I can see that move definitely being a good boost for them.
Yep.
Hey, we're on my rival, the San Francisco 49ers. So I've got to pick for the last 2 teams that have knocked my Cowboys out of the playoffs the last 4 years.
Yay! Yay!
So San Francisco.
This is what the board's looking like, just in case you want to know. There are some trade offers if you're interested in those, I can tell you. But they obviously need offensive line.
Yes, they need some offensive line help. That's what I'm looking at for them. They could use some secondary help as well. So I'm not going to rule that completely out of the board for them. I think they're fine at wide receiver. They're fine on the offense as far as skilled players go.
Yes. But Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia, is available. Graham Barton out of Duke, who plays tackle in college, probably won't play tackle in the league. Tyler Guyton, Kieran.
Can he play on the right?
Tyler? Are you talking about Tyler Guyton? Oh, hello?
Yeah, can Tyler Guyton play on the right side?
He actually played a majority of his career.
Yeah, can you not hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I got you now. We're good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Tyler
I
Guyton
think with
has
this pick,
played-
I'm going to lean. I'm
Go ahead. Sorry. My bad.
No, you're good. We got a little bit of a delay. I think that's messing it
Yeah.
up. No, we're good. Yeah. I think I'm going to go Tyler Guyton here.
Okay.
If he's still on the board at this point, I think the 49ers are good with it.
I agree with that pick. I think it's a great pick. I think he can play right tackle and move over to the left later on when they need him to. So I think that's a great pick for the 49ers. I think it's the absolute nightmare scenario for the Chiefs because a lot of the receivers that you would want have gone. And then you're kind of thinking, okay, well, maybe Tyler Guyton falls to you at 32. And then he doesn't fall to you. And now you're sitting there kind of looking at what you got available to you. And you're like, I don't love it. I don't love it.
Man, I feel like I just ruined your whole Chiefs draft.
No, I've been in this scenario. Not at all. I've done hundreds of these things, man. I'm a nerd. I'm a total nerd. Like if I got nothing else going on, I will be sitting on my couch doing this. So this is a typical day for me. I really like Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. I know he's not a flashy wide receiver, and maybe not a lot of guys are going to be absolutely in love with him. And one of my good friends that I talk to just about every day about football, he kind of, this is him saying this, but I agree with him. He says if Ladd McConkey was a black dude, he would be a lot higher on boards. So I don't know. Maybe that's true. I kind of agree. But Ladd, he's got great speed, man. He's a 4.3 40 guy. He's a track guy. The only thing I don't love about Ladd McConkey is production. He didn't produce a lot, but you're at Georgia, and they're a defensive, run-the-ball kind of football organization. So I don't hold it against him too much. So I'm definitely thinking about Ladd McConkey. But if this is the scenario, and this is how everything plays out, I got to be honest with you, I'm looking to trade down. If at all possible. Okay. So right now I'm getting an offer from the Cardinals to trade down to pick 35, which is right around in the zone where I would be pretty comfortable with doing that. But you're only trading down 3 picks, so you're not going to get a huge haul out of that. So you got to be kind of realistic. Sometimes these draft simulators will let you get away with more than what is real. I think if I could get 35 and 90, I'm pretty ecstatic, and they did accept my trade.
I was gonna throw out a scenario for you.
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
I was gonna throw in just going back to checking something really quick. Who did we pick for the Raiders with their pick?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna throw in a scenario that the Raiders were gonna trade back into the end of the first round with you.
Let's see. The Raiders are all the way down in the second round.
They're number 44. They're number 44 in the second round. Yeah.
44 would be – I would consider it. But if I could get down to 35 and add a pick, I would probably rather not help my division rival out.
All right. One more trade situation.
Okay.
The New England Patriots.
At 34?
Yep, at 34.
I've made them a pretty common trade partner.
Never mind. Sorry, never mind. I forgot I took Jaden Daniels with them.
Yep, they have a quarterback, so probably not coming back.
Yep.
However, I agree with you because if they don't take a quarterback at pick 3 and they take Marvin Harrison, then I think this is a prime target for them to jump up and get one of these quarterbacks. And that's kind of what I'm hoping is because I think the draft could fall very similar to this, where the Chiefs are kind of out in the cold at 32 with anybody they actually wanted. So hopefully one of those teams that still wants a quarterback and wants to add a 5th-year option to him would be willing to trade up and take, one of the quarterbacks that's left, which is, who is it? Bo Nix and Bo Nix is it right now for us. So Bo Nix is probably the only guy. I mean, you could have a surprise Spencer Rattler pick, but Bo Nix is probably the only guy that anybody would trade up for at 32.
Yeah.
So,
So
all
I'm
right,
looking at fan selections. Fans say Ladd McConkey here.
Yeah, I love Ladd McConkey, and he may very well be the pick at 35 if he survives. But if I could trade out of 32 in this scenario, I would, and try to add some picks and just see what happens. Because there's a lot of guys I like late at receiver, and I'm not afraid to double or even triple dip. I know triple dip is probably highly unlikely, but if you have enough picks, it becomes more likely. So the Cardinals. Now I got to pick for the Cardinals.
All right. So the Cardinals are up at 32, which means you guys are at 35, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then the Cardinals' last pick was, what'd they take? They took Jackson Powers Johnson, and they took Marvin Harrison. So,
Yeah, but they already have Marvin Harrison Jr.
right. So who would they be coming up to take? I think they come up and they take Graham Barton, and they have their offensive line set because he can play inside as well. So you got a center, you got a guard to put beside him, and you have a wide receiver, and you took 3 picks in the first round, and it really didn't cost you that much. So
Yeah.
if
Graham Barton is off the board.
Yeah, he's off the board. If you're only giving up pick 90 to go up there, I don't think that's that unrealistic of a pick. I know they end up with 3 first-round picks there, but they need the talent. They need a talent injection. So you're a Lion at pick 33.
All right. Was this the Lions? Yeah, because the Cardinals moved up. Yep, I was just trying to make sure I got it right. Okay.
Lions
So
at
the
33.
Lions at pick 33. I'm going to go ahead and go with my edge rusher now.
Okay.
So I was able to pick up some player. I was able to pick up a draft pick. Didn't lose anything for what I'm looking for, so I'm taking Chop Robinson here.
Chop Robinson, I think that worked out fantastic for them.
Yep.
Because you were able to trade back and still get the guy that you were going to take before anyway. So Chop Robinson's off the board. I think he's an athletic edge. That's pretty fantastic. Now, 34 were the Patriots. They got their quarterback earlier with Jaden Daniels. You took Jaden Daniels for them. So now you got Gerard Mayo, a defensive mind. Kind of the edges aren't really available right now. You don't want to push a guy up your board too much just because you like him or just because you're a defensive guy. Is it possible for them to take a linebacker even though maybe that's not one of their biggest needs?
That's what I was thinking, because you could get your top guy you want.
Yep. And Gerard Mayo is, of course, a linebacker. It's not a huge need for them, but the best guy available is a linebacker in Peyton Wilson out of North Carolina State.
Correct.
I think I'll go ahead and take him, and I don't think Patriots fans are too worried about it because I think they're pretty used to their team taking the best player available and figuring out how to get him on the field.
I don't disagree with that.
So Peyton Wilson is a Patriot, and now you get to make a pick for the Chiefs.
I'm doing the Chiefs. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and go back to that wide receiver position.
Yep.
Is what I'm going to lean toward. How are you guys doing at safety?
Pretty solid at safety, in my opinion. There's some guys that say we might take a safety. I would absolutely revolt if we took a safety with our first pick because we have 3 starters, really.
Gotcha.
We got Brian Cook. We have Reed, and then we have Shamari Connor, who came in and played for Cook as a rookie last year and played really well. So we got 3. We're 3 deep at safety.
Gotcha. So based on just the fans' thoughts, plus I'm believing Rice is going to face a suspension this year. I'm leaning toward Ladd McConkey here.
I don't disagree with that at all. Ladd McConkey is the pick. And I'm happy with that because you didn't have to take him at 32. Don't get the
Okay,
fifth year
so
option.
I think Ladd McConkey would be the guy.
Yeah. All right, so McConkey is the pick for
Sorry.
the Chiefs. I'm pretty happy with that as a Chiefs fan. Got a great route runner there, a guy that he's not too small. The only thing that I will say that I'm concerned with the Chiefs and their receivers is they show a tendency to pick a bunch of slot guys. Like they just load up on slot guys, and I don't think McConkey is any different in that. Like it's another slot guy for the Chiefs. I would love to see them take a real X, but maybe they can double up on receiver later on and take an X receiver later on, like a Leggett or somebody like that, or Keon Coleman, even if he's available. So we are with the Commanders. I almost called them their old name, not on purpose, just because I'm old and I don't. It also doesn't bother me, but okay, let's see here. The Commanders. So we did what with them? They took Drake May in the first.
Yep, you took Drake May with the Commanders' first pick.
Now they need a little bit of everything, and it makes a lot of sense to me to come back and to take somebody to protect that investment that we made with pick 2. So I'm going to take the little-known tackle prospect out of Yale, who there's not a ton of tape on the guy, but he is very popular. And I'm not going to butcher his last name, but you can see it there. Kieran Amegadjie. Yeah, Amegadjie. So we're going to go with Kieran Amegadjie here, and they get a left tackle.
Interesting. Okay, interesting pick there.
Yeah.
I actually think, my opinion, I think the Commanders would have went with that safety from Minnesota.
Really? I can see that.
Because Dan Quinn's a big safety guy. Safeties are a very integral part of his defense and what he likes to do. So that's the reason why I probably, if I was Washington, I probably would have went with the safety pick there.
I totally see it, but there's another safety on down there a little ways that a lot of people like out of Miami, Cam Kitchens, that I think you can get later on if you're really into safety. I don't know, man. I like when I pick a quarterback to also pick a tackle.
Gotcha.
Chargers.
All right, so now Chargers got some needs.
They do.
They've done a lot of moving around. I'm just trying to check my scouting report really quick on the Chargers. What did we do with them in the first round?
Yeah, no problem.
We took the wide receiver. Took the wide receiver from Washington.
Yep. Roma Dunze.
Yeah. Harbaugh is I think he's a very loyal guy. And the reason why I say that is because I think he might be leaning toward his guy Blake Corum. Not saying that's who I'm picking, but I could see him leaning toward Blake Corum at this point because they are going to need a running back.
Another Michigan product that is right around this area on the board is Mike Sainstro from Michigan, the corner.
He's there. There's also another guy, Chris Jenkins on the defensive line, who I'm also leaning toward.
Yes.
With this pick.
A Chris Jenkins pick would not surprise me at all. A Mike Sainstro pick would not surprise me at all. And any offensive lineman would not surprise me at all because he wants to run the football. Blake Corum wouldn't really surprise me, to be frank with you. Like, they need a running back. Uh-oh, did we lose Damien? No, you're back.
No. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So I'm just scrolling through a few things. Man, this is tough. I don't know exactly where they're going to want to go.
Yeah, I mean, they could go a number of places here. Any pick along the offensive line wouldn't surprise me, just the way he is. And there's some dudes available, Zach Frazier and Christian Haynes, Cooper Beebe are all available on the interior. Still got a couple tackles with Kingsley Sumatai. Brandon Coleman apparently is flown up boards. He wasn't really in that position earlier, but Blake Fisher, Patrick Paul, guys like that.
I think he's going to go with someone he's comfortable with. I'm going to go with the cornerback. I'm going defensive back for the Chargers here.
Mike
Let me make sure
Sanistrel.
we're not repeating you. Yep, we're going to go with Sanistrel here.
Okay, Mike Sanistrel is now a Charger. That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, Titans at 38. We went Malik Neighbors with them in the first round, so I think they're probably pretty set as far as weapons, and this may be a defensive pick here. They actually have a need for D-backs. I think they're going Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota here.
Okay, makes sense.
Tyler Nubin is a Titan. So now it's you with the Panthers at pick 39.
All right. Panthers, like I said, they can afford to go best available here. Just for what they're trying to do with their squad here.
Yes.
But I think they're going to probably go with an edge rusher here. I'm going to go with Isaac from Penn State on this pick.
Okay. Adissa Isaac is going to the Panthers. So they got themselves an edge. You can always add edge, pretty much always. So
yeah,
good pick, good solid pick. Okay, Washington. So we added a tackle, we added a quarterback. They could definitely think about a tight end here. Now, tight end is an interesting position in this draft. You could really think about Jatavian Sanders out of Texas here, and he's got some long speed to him. He's a decent size tight end. 6'4", 243. He's a junior. He's only 21 years old. Tier 1 athlete. Even with all the receivers they had, he still did some pretty good production there. Last year with 682 yards. And when you think about he's playing with three wide receivers that are going to get drafted this year, and he still got 600, 700 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kind of impressive for Jatavian Sanders. So I could see him going there. He's actually not my number 2 tight end on my board, but I'm just trying to think as a Washington Commander. And then, edge and DB are also a need for them. So let's look real quick at what's available.
So I want to throw out a position that I'm sure you're not thinking about with this squad.
Okay.
Running back.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't thinking about that with these guys. Aren't they set at running back?
On the outside looking in from me, I don't believe so, because you got to remember they got a brand new offense coming in this system.
That's true. Man, had he not had the injury at the combine, Javon Bullard would be maybe my pick here because he's like a supremely talented safety in this draft. I think it's a little early for Enos Rackstraw at corner. TJ Tampa, a little early for him as well. Kamari Lassiter, those are the corners that are available. Max Melton sitting there, but I think he's probably a second round, maybe third round guy. So let's look at running back and see if there's a dude that you might pull a trigger on. And then sitting there is Jonathan Brooks out of Texas, who is probably the best in the draft, but he did have the injury, correct?
Correct. Coming off an injury.
But probably the best pure running back in the draft. 6 foot 207. Just a beast. He's got size, speed, a little bit of everything you want. You kind of threw a wrench in my plans there, but I could see them making that pick just because maybe you're not happy with any of the D-backs that are sitting there. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you think it's a little early for them. You've taken a
I can
quarterback and a tackle. Why not?
I can tell you this with cornerback or defensive back with Dan Quinn. If you're not 6'2", he is not drafting you.
Oh, really?
He will not draft a cornerback or defensive back under 6'2".
I didn't know that. I didn't
Yep,
know that.
think about his time back in Seattle. He likes his guys lengthy. He passed on, gosh darn it, not Surtain. There was a cornerback had family lineage a few years ago. His name's escaping me right now.
You're not talking about Joey Porter.
No, not Porter. He's with the Chargers now. The guy I'm trying to think of, and I can't think of his name.
Oh, you're talking. Oh my gosh, man, that's his daddy played for the Patriots.
Yes, and I can't think of what the guy's name is, but he passed on him because he didn't have the size.
Yep. Okay. All right, man. Given all of that, I still think it's too early for a running back. I'm going to go to TJ Tampa because he is 6'2" at corner.
Okay.
So TJ Tampa is the newest Washington Commander, 6'2", 200 pounds. Nice fluidity, good hips. He moves well. I think that would be a nice pick for them. And it's a defensive coach. He's a little bit more of a zone guy, so I think that fits with them, doesn't it?
Yeah, Dan Quinn loves to run cover 3. That's his main thing that he likes to run.
Okay.
He will run man, but yeah, he's willing to do it.
All right, so TJ Tampa is a commander, and you're on the board with the Packers.
Gosh, dang it, man! How do I get stuck with these dudes?
How are they gonna load up and beat the Cowboys?
I know, right? Man. I mean, if I want to be a jerk, I'll go by their history and I'll take Bo Nix here because they need to make sure they got a quarterback in line.
So they did already take Jordan Morgan, who could play guard or tackle for them.
Yes,
which I thought was a good pick. But now their needs kind of shift to D-line or safety.
I don't know who their new DC is, unfortunately. Because I do know they switched up DCs. It's a guy from Boston College, a former coach from Boston College. Is their new
Yeah, we had that conversation about it in the coaches chat. Remember?
Yep. He's their new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I'm leaning toward Fisk at this moment.
I
from
love
Florida State, I believe.
I love that pick.
Yep. I think that's who I'm leaning toward, and I think that's who they'll take at this spot is Braden Fisk from Florida State.
Love that pick, man. He's built a lot like Chris Jones. He's a guy that I kind of covet, and I just know that we're not going to get. And I think that's a fantastic pick, man. I watched him at the Senior Bowl and just fell in love with the guy. I think he's a great pick for them. So awesome for them. Happy with Braden Fisk. I'm a Texan now. PFF is still listing wide receiver as a need for them, and I just don't see it. They got 3. They get 3 wide receivers.
Yep.
They're good.
They're
just behind.
Yeah, that's not a need for them anymore.
No,
yeah, they're set.
I think they're just behind on that. So, not going to take a wide receiver here.
Yep.
Have no need for a quarterback. I don't know. I want to look at this other source real quick to see how they are set on the offensive line. I don't know their offensive line very well. Do you?
I don't either. No, their offensive line I don't know off the top of my head. I know they got Tunsil at left tackle.
Yeah,
that's about all I know. Yeah.
The Texans. So they're listing actually they list tackle as a need on this one. I don't know why.
Maybe right tackle.
Right tackle, yeah. D'Amico Ryan's got career best football from the players on the defensive side, but Sheldon Rankins and Jonathan Greenard both left in free agency. Texans were able to add Daniil Hunter and Danico Autry to supplement the edge rotation, but the D-tackle spot can still get stronger. And then they're all set at wide receiver with Steph Diggs, Collins, and Tank Dell. They're good at tight end as well. Potential need looms at tackle and guard for them. I think with D'Amico being the head coach, your defensive guy, I think you're probably looking to that first. Enos Rackstraw at corner is available. Kamari Lassiter at corner, both available. D tackle. Let's see what D tackle's got. You just took one of my favorite guys.
I think if Fisk was there, I think he would have. Yep.
It's not too early for Chris Jenkins or even a Rook Ohoro. I probably butchered that dude's name, but the dude from Clemson, just call him Rook. I like him. That dude's a beast, man. So, you could go with either one of those guys. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go with Chris Jenkins at this point.
Chris Jenkins?
That's my pick, Chris Jenkins for the Texans. You're on the clock.
Defensive lineman from Michigan.
Yep, defensive lineman from Michigan. He's got the lineage as well. His pops was a Panther and a pretty damn good one. And I think, pretty good chance that D'Amico knows his dad. So probably draft. I think that's a good fit there with the lineage and then his dad playing in the same era as his pops. So probably have a connection there.
All right, that brings us to
the Falcons at 43.
Falcons at 43.
Hold on, my dog just knocked down my green screen. There we go. All right. Go on. Get. Go. Shoo. What do you want? Have you ever been around a pit bull?
I have a pit bull.
You do? Like, is your pit bull a needy little jerk? Like,
yeah, especially when my wife's home. She's like, she waits at the window for my wife to come home.
Come here, buddy. You want to say hi? Come here. Come up. Yeah, say hi. Say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody. Yeah, say hi to the camera. Yeah, you're a good boy. I know you're a good boy. You didn't mean to. It's okay. It's okay. You didn't mean to. Go away. Go on. All right, man. So,
all right,
43, the Falcons. I have D-line and cornerback listed. What did we take with the Falcons earlier? That was your pick, wasn't it?
We took a cornerback. No, you took the guy from. Yep, we took the cornerback already for him.
So they got
I don't see him doubling up.
No, they're set at corner there now, or should be. So, what do you say? What are you looking at? D-line is getting a little thin. Let's look at the Falcons. Are you there, buddy? Oh. All right, so the Falcons need an edge, a corner. They need edge, corner, D-tackle, wide receiver, and safety. So very well could be looking for an edge here if they can get one that's worthy of the pick. What are you thinking, man? Do you see any edges that you're interested in? Do you see anything? What are you thinking about?
I'm just looking at their draft position, where they're sitting at. I feel like the offense for them that they got is loaded.
Yes.
We've already got the cornerback off the board, even though I still think there's really good value at corner right now.
I do too. Yeah, I do too.
Just would they take two cornerbacks with their first two picks is a big question.
It's unusual, but not unheard of, and the guys available are worth the pick.
I mean, that's honestly what I'm leaning toward. I'm just wondering how they would play that.
I don't even know who's on their roster right now for corner. I just know it ain't a lot. Let me see. Falcons. Yeah. 2024. Okay, this is a projected depth chart at corner. Yeah. They could definitely. I mean, they have AJ Terrell, who's a really good corner. But after AJ Terrell, it's Clark Phillips III, Antonio Hamilton, Micah Abernathy. No, he's a safety. Natron Brooks, Kevin King. I mean, there's not a lot there at corner. They could double down on corner.
No. Definitely a possibility. One more position I want to check out for these guys really quick. How far is the drop off on line? What do they got at linebacker?
What do they currently have at linebacker? Let me look.
Yes.
They have Caden Ellis. They have Nate Landman at right inside linebacker. They have Caden Ellis at left inside linebacker. And then they have Arnold Ebiketie, who they took last year. I like Arnold Ebiketie. And they have Lorenzo Carter. They have D'Angelo Malone, who's another guy. Troy Anderson. I mean, it's not – they're looking for probably a middle and an inside linebacker is what they're probably looking for there. Now, what's available at inside linebacker?
Not much.
Edgerrin Cooper is a good pick. I mean, Jeremiah Trotter is a dude. He's more of an old school guy, but you're playing a 3-4, so you can afford to have one of those thumpers at inside linebacker.
I'm trying to think. I know they were a 3-4 last year, but I think they might be switching to a 4-3. I'm trying to think of what the Rams ran last year.
Gotcha.
Because it's the Rams' old defensive coordinator coming over.
They're kind of multiple, aren't they? Don't they run a little bit of everything?
Yeah, I think they ran a little bit of everything.
I know Aaron Donald would kick out to 5 and play the 5 technique sometimes. So I don't know, man. Edgerrin Cooper is probably pretty easily the best linebacker available. And you know, I wouldn't be afraid of that pick at all. Junior Colson out of Michigan. Then you're kind of reaching for Jeremiah Trotter. That's a little bit of a reach.
It's a reach, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what, even though they already took a cornerback, I'm going to take who I feel like is available, and I'm going to go with the guy from Missouri, Rakestraw Jr.
Enos Rakestraw. So I like that pick. That's a good pick. He's the best available player that fills a need for them. So, I mean, if you take a corner with your first and second pick, you shouldn't have to worry about that for another 5, 6, 7 years.
Nope. I think they're going to try to get that lined up and square away for themselves.
Correct. All right, so here we are with the Raiders. I get to make the Raiders pick for my buddy Bobby. So he's also ADHD and will never watch any kind of video this long. The Raiders, I mean, they need a lot. They need a lot, man. But I'm going to do what I know my buddy Bobby would do at this pick. And I'm taking Bo Nix.
Oh, the Saints just threw their headsets.
Bo Nix is a Raider, and my buddy Bobby is extremely happy with that pick. I think I would be okay with that pick as well at 44. I think you're getting good value there. And if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world if you got to move on here in another 2 years or so.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Saints just threw their headsets. They're upset with that pick. I already had my line. I already had my pick on Bo Nix there for the Saints.
That's why it's fun to do these with alternating picks with a buddy, because there's no possibility of cheating for yourself. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. So
All
I had that all. Yeah, I had that all lined up for him, ready to go.
right.
Man. Okay. So the Saints are now kind of scrambling around a little bit. Had some stuff lined up, but I think I know who they're going to go with here for this next pick. And what I'm leaning toward is they're going to try to get themselves another weapon now at that point, since they got kind of depleted a little bit with the other situation with the quarterback. They were looking for that. And I think I'm going to take Mr. Coleman from Florida State.
Keon Coleman. This is a guy, man, that, a year ago we were talking about being a top 10 pick.
Yep.
So I think that's a steal for them, man. Like, a little bit of jealousy there because I was hoping somebody would drop down to the Chiefs. And, this may be an area where the Chiefs talk about maybe moving back up now that Keon Coleman has come off the board. And we're still in need of a lot. I mean, we need a tackle. We need another receiver. So if there's a guy on the board that the Chiefs like, maybe they think about moving up. That being said,
well, you got to remember, I drafted McCaffrey for him earlier.
Lad McConkey. Yes.
Or McConkey. Yeah, McConkey.
They still probably need a tackle and yet another wide receiver. The Colts are on the board, and what did we do with them last time? The Colts, we took Cooper DeJean, the corner.
We took Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we got the DB part covered there. We're saying that maybe they could take another wide receiver. I know they re-signed their guy. What's their receiver's name there that they re-signed? I forget. I like him, actually.
Yeah. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
He's another guy. He's another guy. His daddy played in the NFL too.
Yes.
Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. All right. So wide receiver, tight end. We took a corner already, so that's taken care of. So we're looking at a wide receiver or a tight end in this area. With Michael Pittman being a true X, a big body receiver, I could really see Roman Wilson fitting in pretty well here. And I could see Jatavian Sanders being a pick here as well. But I kind of like the tight ends that they have in their room already. They took a guy last year that I really like. So I'm going Roman Wilson here with this pick.
Yep, I agree with that pick.
He's a 4.3 guy. He's got a little bit more speed than people give him credit for. 6 foot, 192, 22 years old. So I think that's a pretty nice pick for the Colts there. Giants at 47.
All right, Giants took a tackle with their first pick in the draft. I think they're going to be looking at a wide receiver here.
Okay.
I think they're going to go with Jalen Polk from Washington here with this pick.
Okay.
They need to give themselves a target. I can see Jalen Polk coming off the board to them at this point.
Okay. Jalen Polk is off the board. I like that pick. I'm not in love with Jalen Polk. I know a lot of people are, though, and I think, it's just a preference thing for me. I think the dude's talented. So I think that's a really good pick. I am with the Jacksonville Jaguars now.
You know what? If I could take that pick back, I would, because there was someone I missed on the draft board.
Who's that?
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah,
just because of his 40, I could see the Giants taking him at that spot. But we'll stick with Jalen Polk. But
I think Polk's a better receiver, honestly.
Yeah, so do I.
Like, he's more NFL ready. I know guys are going to be ready to go ahead and take a risk on Worthy around in this area. So not a bad thought, but I don't think it's a bad pick to take Polk over Worthy. Okay, so the Jaguars, let me look and see what we took with them last time. The Jaguars are We
We
took
took an interior
Byron
defensive lineman,
Murphy.
Byron Murphy.
Yeah, Byron Murphy.
Yep.
So they're still in need. They could use an edge. They could use a guard. They could use a center. And center is the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to take Zach Frazier off the board. He's on the PFF boards. He's ranked 33. They're probably surprised he's still sitting here, and they have a need at center. So they're going to go ahead and take Zach Frazier off the board, and they're ecstatic about that pick.
All right.
The Bengals
next up
at
is
49.
Bengals. We went. What did we do with them last time? We went. I just looked it up and I forgot already. We went tackle for them. Protect.
Yep, Troy
protect Joe
Fontana.
Burrow.
Yep.
Two different ways we could go. We could go with the edge rusher, which is what they're going to be kind of. I know they're going to be looking for one because they do need to help disrupt a little bit of things there.
Another need that they have is at tight end.
I thought about that guy. Yes.
Yeah, they have that listed as a high need for them. So
the only thing I got against tight ends is that's usually a 2 to 3 year position to really fully develop in the NFL.
yeah,
So that's the only reason why I'm not big on this Bengals team taking a tight end.
that's fair. I have offensive tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver, corner, guard, tight end, and running back all listed as needs for them.
Let's see. They just did get rid of Joe Mixon.
Yep.
So I think let's take the first running back off the board. I think this is a good spot. We're going to take Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks is picked for the Bengals. I think that's a good pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is the first running back off the board right there. I think that's fairly realistic for this. So, pretty good deal there. And now I'm on the board with the Eagles.
About to say, do not spell that out, please. Do not spell that correct.
I took Kool-Aid McKinstry off the board for them at 22. And I have a feeling that maybe some fans were feeling a little bit like that's a lackluster pick when Nate Wiggins was available. So, I'm going to make a splashy pick for them, and I'm going to add Xavier Worthy,
The wide receiver?
the wide receiver. Xavier Worthy is an Eagle.
Wow. Mike Tomlin just threw his headset. That's why I lined up for the Steelers to take right there.
I know
well,
that
good.
they just lined up Devontae Smith there with a nice contract, but his contract doesn't really kick in until I think A.J. Brown is coming off the books, in my opinion. And they do have wide receiver listed as a need for them. And I think, having 3 guys out there, 2 speed demons, I think that might be tempting for them. So,
Well, Steelers were taking a wide receiver. They're going to take the guy that they had next on their draft board, and that's going to be Ricky Purcell.
I love that pick. I love Ricky Purcell. Great pick for them. I think the Steelers are going to be very happy for him, to have him in town. All right, I'm a Ram now. I'm taking a Rams pick. Would you end up taking with him the Rams earlier? You took a D lineman, correct?
Correct. What defensive tackle? Yeah, Newton from Illinois.
Jerzon Newton. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So they could go a number of places here, and they've only had 1 pick so far, and they took Jerzon Newton. So we could go tackle. You could go a replacement for Stafford. You could go linebacker or corner. And I do think this is a time where maybe linebackers start coming off the board, and I'm going to take Edgerrin Cooper right here to the Rams.
Edgerrin Cooper to the Rams.
He's an athletic, good linebacker who can play a lot of different systems and a lot of different positions. I think he can be an overhang off-ball linebacker, so I think they'll like him.
Well, that makes my next pick for the Eagles very simple. because I am going to do what they have done like crazy the past 2 drafts, and I got them taking Javon Bullard from
Mm.
Georgia at safety.
Very, very athletic safety. He happened to get a little bit nicked up and injured there at the combine. So I think he would have went a lot earlier if he didn't get hurt at the combine. He was having a crazy combine.
Yep.
So good pick.
And so, yeah, the Eagles have loaded up on Georgia defensive players, and I think they're going to stick with that trend.
The first pick for the Cleveland Browns. Like, we haven't heard any Cleveland Browns here. So they, in my opinion, are not a team that I don't know. I mean, PFF doesn't list them as having a whole bunch of needs. And I disagree. That's I think they do. They have plenty of needs. I'm not sure where to go with this pick yet. Let's talk through some of their needs. I know they need defensive line and linebacker help. That's pretty obvious. They need offensive tackle, edge, wide receiver, and they list quarterback as a need for them.
Wow, they got 2 quarterbacks. They got Watson, and they just signed Jameis Winston. I don't think that's a need.
I don't think that's a need either. I think they're wanting a developmental guy, but I think they got a developmental guy there. Guy that, I don't think quarterback's a need for them.
What about
anyway.
What about running back?
They don't list it as a need, but I could see it. I could see it. I think they'd probably wait till later in the draft. I don't think they'd want to make their first pick in the draft a running back.
Even though they got what's his name coming off severe injury. Running backs don't recover from an injury that he had.
I think they kept Kareem Hunt though.
Did they? That I haven't seen, but
I thought they kept Kareem Hunt. Let me just verify that. Let's see here. Boy, my internet is being a little bit slow. Okay. He might still be a free agent, actually, now that I'm looking at this. So, yeah, it looks like I don't see anything where they've re-signed him. I could be wrong. I thought maybe he did, but I think he's actually still a free agent. So running back could be a thing for them. And with what's his name? Gosh damn, he's probably the best running back in the league. Shame on me for not knowing his name.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it as well. So
I'm getting old here. My memory, man, has been slipping.
I'll know it around fantasy football season. I know that.
Right? That dude's a beast, and you'll probably be able to pick him up quite a bit later than you normally would. Nick Chubb, sorry. I had to look that up.
That's it, Nick Chubb.
I'm not going to go running back here. I think they probably will draft a running back, but not at this pick. I am going to go Kingsley Somataya out of BYU, the tackle. I know I've been, man, it feels like every pick I've made has been a daggum tackle, but this is a great tackle draft, and these guys need one, so they're going tackle. That's my pick. You're up with the Dolphins.
All right, so earlier I picked an edge rusher for the Dolphins. Verse from Florida State.
Yes.
This time around, they're definitely not going to go with the running back. We know that for sure. I don't see them going wide receiver. Not going to rule it out, but I don't see them taking that route. I think they're going to try to shore up the defense here a little bit more. Because they did get banged up on the defensive side quite a bit last year toward the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? They This guy coming from San Francisco, the head coach. Let's take Sanders off the board from Texas.
Okay, I think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Jatavian Sanders comes off the board to the Dolphins, and they like speed, and he's a speed tight end, so that makes a lot of sense. Now I get to pick for the Cowboys. Did I lose you? Oh, he hung up on me. He's like, screw you.
I think I lost you. What, I didn't hear what you said.
I said I get to pick for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Again. So I want your input. I want your help with this one, man. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I'm leaning towards the running back. Are you?
I could see a running back coming off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm leaning pretty heavily towards the running back here for them. Is there any objection to that, or was a position that you would rather see? A bigger need? Hello, did I lose you? Oh,
Sorry, you broke up on me. I do apologize.
yeah, no big deal, man. I was just saying, is there any position that you see that is a bigger need, or somebody that you would want me to look at more as a Cowboys fan? Because I have a running back picked out.
I just hope it's not the running back that I'm thinking.
I bet it's not. I bet it's not.
I think I know who you're thinking of.
Is there any other
I mean,
positions that I should be considering, though?
Linebacker would definitely be a position that they're going to need.
Okay.
An interior defensive lineman would also be another one. And if there was a top ranked pass rusher that they fell in love with, I wouldn't rule that out. But those would be the three main that I would look at.
So I'm not ready to pick any of the linebackers that are still available. There is Jonah Ellis out of Utah at edge rusher, and Chris Braswell out of Alabama at edge rusher that could both be in consideration for them. I'm not in love with those guys. I don't like the length of Jonah Ellis. He's not a lengthy edge rusher, which is something that I like. And neither is Chris Braswell. They're both 6'2" and 6'3", respectively. So I'm not too sold on any of those guys. As far as interior D-line, Brandon Dorlus, Rook from Clemson. I mean, we can kind of just look at the list here. There's some dudes that are available. I think I'm dead set, man. And I think you're going to like this pick. I really do. I am dead set on taking the running back out of Tennessee, Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright, huh?
Jalen Wright. Don't know if you know much about him. If you don't, that dude is an explosive man beast. So he runs very good in the zone system. He's better in his own system. He's very fast. 5'11", 210. He's one of the faster running backs in this class. So I think it fits you guys. I think you'll be happy with him.
Okay. Compared to Felix Jones from the old Dallas Cowboy running back, I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys draft board. They got him ranked as a number 5 running back. But like I said, this is just.
Who do they have above him? Trey Benson?
Let me see if I can go back up to it. Trey Benson's ranked number 2.
Okay.
Bucky Irvin, Blake Corum, and then Jalen Wright. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't take Jalen Wright.
Yeah. I will agree with them on the Trey Benson thing. I like Trey Benson better, but it's kind of a general consensus right now that he's not going to go before Jalen Wright.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people will probably be shocked that I didn't take Blake Corum, but I'm not a huge Blake Corum guy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, neither am I. That's who I thought you were leaning toward. So that's why I was like, don't tell me it's who you're thinking of.
No. It was for me. It was really between. Jalen Wright and Trey Benson. I like Trey Benson a little bit better because he has a lot of the same athleticism at a bigger size. And for me, it just came down to Jalen Wright is a little bit more polished. So,
Okay.
yep, and he's a zone runner. So, I like that for you guys. The Buccaneers at 57, man.
I think the Buccaneers are going to go running back here.
Okay.
I don't believe we took a running back for him yet, if I
Okay.
remember
Nope.
correctly.
I don't believe so.
This has been a team that I don't know if they've had a good running back for a while.
They took Nate Wiggins with their last pick. So,
Okay. So yeah, I'm going running back, and I think they're going to take Trey Benson at this point.
okay.
Yep, I think
That
Trey
would make a
Benson
lot
will
of
be the guy to
sense.
take.
I mean, just down the street from him, pretty good chance that they have probably seen a lot of him playing football. So Trey Benson, good pick. I like him a lot. All right, the Packers. The Packers have had a pretty good draft so far. They got Braden Fisk, who I really like, and they got Jordan Morgan. So they've been taking care of the trenches, and they kind of are in need of a safety. A couple safeties have already come off the board. I am going to take a guy that is maybe not as high on some people's boards as mine. Well, hold on. Let me pump the brakes a little bit here. Make sure I'm doing these guys justice.
Who are you thinking about?
I am thinking about Cam Kitchens. That's who I'm thinking about. But they also need a linebacker. So I want to make sure that I'm not jumping the line here and taking, maybe somebody that I can get a little bit later. Junior Colson is here, and Jeremiah Trotter is here. 6'3", 247, Junior Colson out of Michigan. He's got really good feet. He grew up playing soccer in Haiti. Man, that's a tough one to pass on.
What position is he?
I think he's a linebacker. I think I'm going to reverse my pick. I haven't made it yet, so almost took the safety, but I'm going to go ahead and take Junior Colson out of Michigan for the Packers. They got a linebacker, so Colson's gone. We're on to the Texans with your pick at 59.
It's going to be crazy, but I actually think the Texans are going to be happy that Green Bay did not take. And this is going to be a little bit of a reach for him. I know he's not ranked high amongst the board, but I think they're going to go with Jeremiah Trotter Jr. here.
I can see it, man. I like Jeremiah Trotter. I think he's higher on a lot of my boards than a lot of the public's. So I see that pick. I like that pick. Who did they take earlier, though? Did they take a linebacker earlier?
Did we take a linebacker with them earlier?
I think
we took Jenkins on the D line.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, we took Jenkins on the D line.
That's right. I was thinking about Chris Jenkins. So it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, this actually makes a lot of sense to me. Is D'Amico out there drafting his buddy's kids?
Yep.
So I could see that for sure. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finalize that pick, Jeremiah Trotter to the Texans. All right, I'm up with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills. We took who'd we take with the Bills last time? Adonai Mitchell.
Took the wide receiver.
A.D. Mitchell. So I don't think they'll double dip at wide receiver. At least not yet. They do need tackle. They need everybody's tackle needy, and this is a tackle needy draft.
Yes.
Which is kind of a weird thing. Like those don't always match up the way they have this year, where everybody kind of needs one, but there's also a lot of them. So I could see them going in that direction. But that being said, like a lot of the top tier, we're on to probably the third or fourth tier of tackles available at this point. So I don't know if that's the pick. We took a wide receiver. They need safety, edge, D tackle, center, corner. So let's see what else is available for them. Center, probably not a lot. There's a lot of centers gone. You could take, man. I like that. I like that. So, okay, I know my pick. I'm happy with this pick. I'm taking Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia, the corner.
Okay.
6 foot 180, kind of a ball hawk. The dude's a little bit of a beast. So I think they're pretty happy with that and trying to replenish some of the losses they've had in that secondary, which they need badly.
All right. So the Detroit Lions are on the clock.
Yep.
And they are ecstatic right now because they are going to sprint up to the draft board or the podium to take, in their eyes, what is probably the best offensive lineman here on the board. I just want to double check to make sure that I got my rankings correct. Your opinion right now, who is the best offensive lineman left? And just your opinion while I look this up.
PFF says it's Christian Haynes. That's a matter of opinion. Blake Fisher's pretty damn good. Cooper Beebe's pretty damn good. There's some dudes that are still available. Patrick Paul, really good. Dominic Punai is really, really good because he has position versatility, can snap.
Yeah. So Detroit, we're going to put our pick in. Based on rankings, this probably doesn't fit where they should go, but they're going to go ahead and take the nastiness of Cooper Beebe.
Ooh, I think that's a good pick, and I think it fits pretty well, actually. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. All right, that's a good pick. I think he fits really, really well with Detroit. And he is a big road grader type. He's not like your big agile guard. He's a dude that'll run you over. So I think
Detroit lost. I believe Detroit lost their 2 starting guards to free agency this year too.
Okay, I like that fit for them. I like that fit for the Lions. I like that fit for Cooper. So good pick, man. Good pick. All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. 2 more picks for me. I got the Ravens right now. We took Troy Franklin with them in the first round. So wide receiver is kind of all taken care of for them. Their defense was the number 1/number 2, depending on what you think about them last year. Pretty damn good defense. I mean, pretty amazing. They have a loaded defense, but they do have some needs listed for them on defense. When you think about the Ravens, what do you think their needs are?
I'm trying to think of who they lost to Seattle this offseason. But I think they lost a linebacker, if I can remember correctly.
Patrick Queen?
Yeah, but I don't think linebackers right now are ranked high enough to where they'd want to take one here at this spot.
Good possibility. I have their needs listed as wide receiver, which I already took, guard, edge, safety, tackle, and linebacker. So they filled the need with Derrick Henry. I like that pick for them. They traded for Morgan Moses. I don't. This is a tough one, man. They could go a lot of different ways.
I could see them going edge just because of the fact you never go wrong with taking a good pass rusher if they're in love with one.
Yep. Let's look at that and see kind of what's available at edge. So, we're still Jonah Ellis and Chris Braswell. The Ravens play a 3-4. I'm going to jump the board again here. And I'm taking Darius Robinson out of Mizzou.
Missouri. I was just looking at him.
I think he's a good fit here. He can play that 5 technique for them, which is technically a defensive end in their system. But the thing to remember about Darius Robinson for guys that are trying to get into the draft, a lot of people are going to list him as an edge, but the dude's 6'5", 296 pounds. So he's not just like a normal 4-3 edge. That's not your typical guy for that. So I think he fits this team really well. He'll give you a little pass rush and be that 5 technique in the 3-4 system. So Darius Robinson to Baltimore. I think that's a great pick for them, and they're pretty happy.
Okay.
San Francisco at 63.
So I think they're happy with kind of the way the board has fallen.
Yes.
This is a team that loves to make sure they have a good defensive line and some good edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to go with one of these edge rushers. Just depends on who you like, to me, in my opinion, between Jonah Ellis and Chris Braswell. So for me, it's a coin flip on that. I'm going to go with Braswell, though, just because he played in a little bit tougher of a conference. So I'm going to trust that a little bit more. So that if I'm the 49ers, I think that's who they're probably leaning toward to help out on that defensive line.
I think that's a great pick, man. Chris Braswell is a 49er, feels the need for them. He's the kind of guy that they like. You got somebody to add some pressure, 6'3", 255. He's not super old, which is a concern with some of these kids that played during the COVID and all that. So he's 22 years old, so that's nice. Played at Alabama.
Yep.
I think that's an awesome pick, man. Great for them. That leaves me with the Chiefs, and I get to end our whole little mock draft here with the Chiefs pick. I traded back, and then you got to make the pick with Ladd McConkey at wide receiver.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, there is going to be a ton of pissed off Chiefs fans right now because I know what everybody wants me to do, and I ain't doing it. Everybody wants me, every Chiefs fan on earth right now wants me to take a tackle, and I'm not going to do it. We're fine. You're okay. We can get one later. It's okay. You can get one later. You got more picks. There's a guy I have my eye on. If we were continuing this draft, I would be looking and maybe even trading up in the 3rd round to go get Patrick Paul because he's still on the board. And I think he fills that need, and you can go get him. Blake Fisher is out there. You can draft him. He's a right tackle only, but you can move Jawan Taylor to left tackle. So there's still options. Derek Punai is out there. I am not in emergency mode at offensive tackle, but I am in emergency mode at wide receiver because, let's face it, they were terrible last year. They were awful. All you've done this year is add Marquise Brown. Now you know that Rashee Rice possibly might not be available for a good portion of the season. Yep. We don't know for sure. So you've added a guy in the 1st round at 32 with Ladd McConkey, which is just fine, and I'm okay with that. But I'm going back and I'm picking Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina, a true X receiver. He's great with the ball in his hand, which I really like. He's got great run after catch ability. He's a physical freak. He's 6'3", 227. He's a little older. He's 23 years old, but man, the dude does some wow things with the ball in his hand. I know some people are worried about his route tree. I think he'll be just fine. I'm doubling down at receiver. Xavier Leggett is a Chief.
All right. Making sure they're set at wide receiver.
Yeah, I would be surprised if – I don't know that they'll double down back-to-back like that, but I would be surprised if they don't double down at wide receiver in the draft.
No, I could definitely see them making that extra move, getting a wide receiver there. That's something I could definitely see.
Just the way that draft fell, and if, like I said, if we were going on, I have a plan for tackle. I'm going to come up in that 3rd round. I got the 3rd round pick from Snead next year that I can use as capital to trade up in the 3rd round anywhere I want. So really I could conceivably move right back up and take take a guy that I need immediately. So, yeah, man, that's our draft. Let's show it to the people real quick as a review here. Pretty stock right out of the gate. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze, Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors. Starts to get a little different up here. Kenyon Mitchell, Dallas Turner, I thought was a really good pick from you. Brock Bowers. Anything there you see that you want to talk about, man?
I had something on my mind that I was gonna question. Trying to pull it up, see if it catches my eye again. Go ahead and keep going through, and if I can think of it.
Yeah, so something that was interesting is the Vikings going tackle at 11 and being patient and coming back and getting their guy quarterback at 23 was really nice for them. Michael Penix to the Broncos. You had some fit questions there for me. I think he's just the best guy available, and I think he'll fit in just fine there.
Oh, okay. I remember what it was. I remember what it was now. I got it.
Yeah, go.
Brock Bowers to the Jets. Not that I think that's a bad pick. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with the tackle there, though. I know they signed Tyron Smith, but Tyron Smith has not played a full season in over 5-6 years. So it's a spot where I could see them going with an offensive tackle at that spot. That was the one thing that drew my eye when I first saw that.
I don't disagree with you, man, but it just even as it stands, let's count the tackles that went in the first round for our draft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that are listed as tackles.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. Now some of those guys aren't going to play tackle in the league. That's kind of the asterisk by that. 9 of those guys that played tackle in college are drafted in the first round. That just tells you how bad the tackle situation is in the league and how good this tackle draft is. You know?
And so, but that's, I think that's why I think the Jets might go offensive tackle there. Just to make sure they get something set.
That would push Fashano up to 10 instead of Brock Bowers. And then you're at the Vikings, and Brock Bowers is sitting there, and you don't need a tight end.
Nope.
So where do you go if you're the Vikings? Do you trade back at that point? Because are there not teams that are, as soon as Brock Bowers drops out of the top 10, that are on the phone, and maybe the Chiefs are one of them, they're like, hey, what's it going to take?
Could be them. Could be the Saints trying to possibly move up.
Yeah.
Or people might not even move up for the tight end. People might let the tight end drop and see what happens there. If you think about the Bills guy, they got him at 20 last year in the draft.
Dude, I can't see a world where I got in a pretty good argument with one of my buddies about, Brock Bowers dropping to like 15. And I hear you, man. Like, he was making the same argument you were. I just can't picture a world where somebody doesn't come up and get that kid.
I mean, I'm not doubting that. I'm just thinking of teams' needs and where they would actually go for it at that point. Like the Jets, they do need a tight end. They would love to get Aaron Rodgers the extra weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they also have to start thinking about their future. You're figuring Aaron Rodgers is going to probably play, 2 years at least, is my guess.
Yep.
Tyron Smith maybe has a year left.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's why I could see that possible move coming.
Yeah.
But that's just, like I said, that's just my thoughts. And Tyron's going to miss 4 to 5 games this year. It's just.
But you're talking right, man. Like, because one of the things that is driving my picks there is a lot of guys are wanting the Chiefs to take a tackle. And as far as I'm concerned, man, David Bakhtiari is still available. Yeah. And I know he's often injured, but we have our guy Wanya Morris on the roster that we drafted last year. So if you take Bakhtiari, throw him at left tackle, and you say Wanya, go learn behind David Bakhtiari, one of the better left tackles to play the game. I think you're pretty set and okay to do that. And if Bakhtiari gets hurt, then you throw Wanye in, and you're fine. So I'm not in. That's why I'm not in a panic to draft a tackle, and maybe the Jets aren't either, because Aaron knows Bakhtiari. So if Tyron goes down, maybe you just call Bakhtiari up and say F it.
Yeah, you could do that. Plus, I believe he's friends with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I don't know what the relationship was in Green Bay, but Aaron Rodgers is familiar with him. So,
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they're friends. So, yeah, man, I could see that. I guess there is a world. It's hard for me to admit that there is a world where Brock Bowers could potentially drop down to 15, because who's the next team that takes him? Because I don't think there's any way the Vikings take him.
no. I got a team in mind that might shock you a little bit.
Okay, well, let's look at the board and tell me about your idea.
The Philadelphia Eagles. I could see them trading up to take him if he starts to slip. Eagles love to run 12 personnel a lot. You put him teamed up with Dallas Goedert. Put them teamed up together. Plus, you got the receivers on the outside. Plus, now that you got Saquon Barkley in the backfield, running a double tight end set with those two. Plus, what you got on the outside.
Yeah, and if you had to trade up 10 or 11 picks, that's not terribly expensive to do.
No. So it's something I could see the Eagles possibly doing. I could see the Eagles doing it with the Broncos.
Yeah. That's a 10-pick move. Not going to be overly expensive. And the Broncos need a lot. So, maybe if the Broncos don't love Michael Penix Jr., then I could see that happening.
I could see the Broncos waiting and taking Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. That's a solid point, man. I have no arguments with that. But then you start to talk about these quarterbacks really starting to slip. Things change for the quarterbacks at that point. Because if the Broncos pass on Penix Jr., do the Raiders take him?
That's who I was going to take with the Raiders pick.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest. But then you, like I said, you took Penix with the Broncos pick. I had the Raiders lined up to take Penix with their pick. And then I
stole a couple picks from you.
You did. I had them lined up ready to go, man. I did. I had that bad boy lined up ready to go. And you were like, "Oh, I'm taking Penix." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll go with the best corner available or second best corner available, depending on your opinion there."
Yep. So, do you see any picks in here that you're like, "Holy crap, they hit a home run"?
Home run.
I think the Vikings had a great draft because they got a tackle and got the quarterback that they wanted, in my opinion.
Yep, if it falls that way, yes. I'm not huge on Drake May. So if the Patriots ended up with Jaden Daniels, I think that's a big plus for them on that situation.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not big on that. Cardinals are pretty. I like the Cardinals, what we did with them. They got a center, they got a wide receiver there lined up. That we actually, and then we got them with another tackle. The only thing I would say about the Chiefs with that 32nd pick is I think if a team trades up with them, it's going to be to get a quarterback. I don't know if it necessarily be an offensive lineman there.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean their offensive line is pretty terrible, and I think they're tired of their quarterback being hurt. So I could see it.
Yeah.
And especially, I mean, they only traded up 3 picks.
Yep.
Like, if you got a guy there that you want, why wouldn't you go get him? I mean, for 3 picks,
Yeah.
But yes, I think you're absolutely correct. I think if the Chiefs trade out of 32, it's most likely somebody coming up to get a quarterback like Bo Nix or maybe JJ makes it to 32. We've seen that kind of stuff before. I think JJ's a second-round quarterback, in my opinion. I think he's getting pushed up a lot of boards for need because I don't see it with him.
I'm not big on him either, but with the way the NFL salary cap and everything is set up, people are going to go for that quarterback in the first round if they can get him.
I would be, me personally, if I was a Cardinals fan, I would be really excited if the draft fell this way, and I would be completely fine with those two offensive linemen saying, hey, I got Marvin Harrison. I got enough weapons and toys. We got to have the guys to protect our quarterback who rarely stays healthy. So, yeah, I think that's a good pick. I think Latu fits really well with the Seahawks. I really like the Nate Wiggins pick for the Bucks. Like, that's a good pick. And the Buffalo Bills with the Donnie Mitchell, that's a good one. And then your pick for Brian Thomas to Carolina was another one that I really like that pick as well. So, yeah, man.
No, I think we did a good job with this draft. We'll see how close we get. Of course, we both believe there's going to be some more trades made in the first round.
I absolutely believe there's going to be more trades in the first round than what we did. I think it's better to err on the side of caution with trades in these mock drafts.
Yep.
Because they can get a little unrealistic or whatever. We made some trades there at the back end of the round one. I think there'll be more in the low 10s. I think there'll be some trades and moving around there. But I think for not making a bunch of crazy trades, I think we were pretty accurate there. I really like the Chop Robinson pick for the Lions. I think that is actually probably one of my picks for a home run because they were able to trade out of that first round where they were thinking about taking Chop Robinson anyway, and you end up getting the guy several picks later and getting some picks in return. So I think that's a big win.
Yep.
I don't love the way it turned out for my Chiefs. Just to be completely honest, I don't love having to double dip at wide receiver, but I just didn't see. I don't see Patrick Paul as a pick 64 guy at tackle, and you're kind of just sitting there like, okay, well, what do you take? So you might as well take a weapon. So,
nope, I definitely could see that. No, I think we did a pretty good job with what we expect or think's going to possibly happen with this draft.
I think I made a little bit of a weird pick. I'll call myself out on this one. I made a little bit of a weird pick with Xavier Worthy to the Eagles. I think Eagles fans will actually like the pick personally, but I don't know if they would actually pull the trigger on that at 50.
Yeah. I think we took Roman Wilson with the Colts. I could actually see Xavier Worthy going to the Colts over Roman Wilson.
You know what? That's a fair point, man. I could see that.
Yep,
I could see that with them.
Yeah, we took Roman Wilson a few picks before that, just because the simple fact that with the type of offense the Colts are going to be running, they're going to be running that Eagles offense when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl.
Fair.
And when you got Richardson back there, the running threat is so big that you're going to try to create the one-on-ones out there.
Yep. Yeah, I could definitely see them taking a shot at Xavier Worthy there at 46.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of like that actually. And I watch a lot of these mock drafts, and I don't ever really see guys picking apart their own mock draft. So maybe that's what sets us apart here. But yeah, I could definitely see that happening. To change what we did. I really like that Trey Benson pick at 57. I don't know how much you love it, but I think Jalen Wright is going to be a good fit there at Dallas.
Like I said, I'm not overly crazy about any running backs, but I'm just telling you, any running back Dallas brings in, it's better than what we got. The only thing that worries me is I'm a huge Deuce Vaughn supporter.
Yeah.
And just listening to Cowboys radio talk is they don't know if they're going to have a role for him to be in the offense. He might be another practice squad guy based on if you bring in Jalen Wright.
Cut him. Do it. Cut him. Cut him. I dare you. I dare you.
we'll see. Like you said, we'll see what they got planned for him. I mean, it could be a situation where they're just like, hey, let's just roll with Deuce. I don't know.
I love Deuce. I don't think he can be a full-time workhorse back in the NFL. I just think his size just is. He's like Darren Sproles, man. He's a lot like Darren Sproles.
And that's honestly what I'm hoping the Cowboys can get out of him is a Darren Sproles type role.
Yeah.
That's really what I want them to use him for. I'm not big on the fact the Cowboys signed Royce Freeman. I'm just like, who cares? Why? I mean, I guess.
Freeman. Yeah, who cares? Dude, exactly. Royce Freeman, that's your big signing? Like, okay.
I was like, all right, we got another body in training camp, I guess. Like that was my thought process with it. I mean, I'm not huge on Rico either. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see what the Cowboys end up doing with this. They re-signed the fullback that they got as well. Who knows?
I actually love the running back class. There's a lot of dudes I really like. Some guys that we didn't mention is Will Shipley. There's a guy, Tyrone. I'm going to mess his name up. He's out of Purdue. Let me see.
He's a converted wide receiver.
Yeah, I really like him for the Chiefs. And gosh, dang it. What is his last name? Tyrone. I want to say Taylor.
Trying to see if I can find it on the Cowboys board here. I
really like him. He's actually listed as the Tyrone Tracy, excuse me.
Okay.
6'1", 210. He's on the athletic matrix that we shared. He has the best short area quickness out of all of the running backs. All of them.
Huh. He's at Purdue, correct? Trying to see where the Cowboys. Wow. Based on the Cowboys draft analysis, he is ranked number 30 for running backs.
30?
Yep.
I get it. He's not a top guy for me either, but he's not 30.
Yep, he is. Took me a minute to find him. He is ranked number 30 on the Cowboys draft board. At least their running back or their draft publication. He's ranked 30th.
30th in the draft or 30th at running back?
30th at running back.
They're on drugs. They're on drugs. They've been smoking drugs, man. I like Will Shipley. I like Braylon Allen. I like Isaiah Davis, Blake Watson, Tyrone Tracy. Bucky Irving's good. I really like Trey Benson. He might be my favorite, actually. I think Trey Benson probably is my favorite.
If I'm looking for lineage, I'm going to go with your boy, Frank Gore Jr.
I like Frank Gore. He's a guy that might be an undrafted free agent or 7th-round pick. Cody Schrader, a lot of guys like him out of MU. And here's a name to remember, and remember this guy, because he is probably – I can't say he's my favorite because I know he's going to get drafted pretty low, but Isaac Guerendo out of Louisville.
I thought you were going – he's listed 13. I thought you were going to go with Isaiah Davis from South Dakota.
I like Isaiah Davis. I do like Isaiah Davis. Dylan Laub is another one out of New Hampshire. There's some small school dudes that are pretty good. But those are all guys that I would keep an eye on in the running back class. But there's a lot of dudes in this running back class that I really like. So
more I look at Trey Benson, the more I'm liking him. So if he fell to Dallas in the second round, I wouldn't be upset with that.
He's probably my favorite, man. He's my favorite running back. And then if I can't have him, I really like Isaac Guerendo, 6'1", 225, and I think he ran like a 4.3.
Yep, 4.3 from Louisville.
Yeah.
10.9 broad jump.
Yeah, explosion.
41.5-inch vertical. Wow.
Yeah. Explosive. So don't be surprised, those of you that are out watching our video, don't be surprised to see Isaac Guerendo as a dude that takes off next year. As a name that maybe not every draftnik guy is mentioning. I like him.
Yep. In fact, I don't like Trey Benson anymore. I want this guy.
Hey, man, you can get him late. You can have them both.
I know.
You can have him both. You can have them both for sure.
I want this explosiveness.
Yes, yes. Isaac Garindo is a dude, man, for sure. But even like we didn't even mention Marshawn Lloyd, and he's on a lot of people's high up on their board. Bucky Irving. I mean, there's a lot of dudes. A lot of dudes.
Yep.
I
So
Yeah.
I was going to just talk about Bill Belichick because he's going to be doing the Pat McAfee draft broadcast that he does every year. I think it's his 4th year that he's doing it.
Yeah, man, we got a chance to see this dude talk live, brother.
Yes. So it was crazy. If you watch the McAfee show, his personality really comes out on the McAfee show.
Good.
I know people
Good.
have talked about his personality, but
Yeah.
it was better than what we watched when we were at the Nebraska coaches clinic. Like his personality really showed on the McAfee show, which was really great. But they asked him a question about the draft boards. And the one thing he said is no team's draft board is ever the same. Where people have players ranked, there's going to be teams that have a guy ranked first, second round, where other teams aren't even going to have this guy ranked in the top 3 rounds and things like that. So
Or
he said
don't
you
even
can't
have
go
him.
off-
They might not even have him on the board because they don't
Yeah.
like his medical or they don't like something he did off the field or whatever.
Yep. So he was just really stressing that, yeah, these media people got their rankings and what draft boards should look like, but you got to understand everyone's draft boards is completely different for what they got at the top of their draft board because they're doing it off needs, things like that.
Yep. I completely agree. I'm going to have to go back and watch that episode.
Yeah.
That sounds like
So
a
I
pretty
know-
awesome episode. He's
Yep.
a pretty good draft guy.
Yep. And so, like, I know the Dallas Cowboys, when they do their draft board, and people can say what they want to say about the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys do an excellent job of drafting. I mean, they got talent. So I'm not going to question Will McClay. He's the main guy that does the talent roster for the Dallas Cowboys. I know I was afraid he was actually going to leave and go to Washington this year as their GM. Was actually a thing I was worried about. When the Cowboys do their draft board, I mean, they just got it set up where they might only have 13 guys ranked as a first-round player. And if their guy's not there, they're going to look to move down if there's no one there that they have ranked in that category.
Yep.
So, like, I like the way the Cowboys do their draft board a little bit. So we'll see what they end up doing.
I completely agree, man. That's kind of the way I do all of my mock drafts is if I get there and I'm picking and there isn't a guy that fits in that slot, I'll move out of that pick if I can. Yeah. That microphone is excellent, sir. I can hear that truck like it's pulling up in your bedroom there.
Yeah, that's the dump truck outside, man. Yeah.
That excellent mic you got there, man. That's awesome. So, yeah, dude, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. But you're going to be on vacation.
Yep, I'm going on a cruise. I will miss the first 2 days of the draft, technically, probably.
Nice.
But, well, I'll miss the first. Yeah, I'll probably miss the first 2 days because I'll be in the airport all day Friday.
Okay.
On the way back from that draft.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll find some spot to watch the draft at. I'll actually be in the Dallas airport during the draft. So,
Oh, nice. Nice. There you go.
so we shall see.
Decked
Might
out
get some
in
good
your
reactions
Dallas
from me.
beard.
Yep, might get some good reactions from me.
Nice.
Maybe I'll grow my beard back for that day and see if people
You should.
mistake me for Emmett. See if people mistake
You
me
sh-
for Emmett in the draft.
You should definitely grow the beard back no matter what, man.
You don't like the clean shave? You don't like it?
It's not my thing, dude. It's not my
No,
thing.
it's-
I don't even
it's what
like
it
it
is.
on me. When I take my beard down, I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? But yeah, man, I think while you're gone, I'll probably pop on here, maybe have a guest or two and do an
Yeah, sounds
episode or two while you're gone. And then
Mhm.
when you get back, we'll be sure to let you settle in and then we'll get an episode up and probably do a reaction to the draft. And
Yep. Hey, I do want to do this. I just want to ask you. I don't know if we'll
Yeah.
put this on this recording or not. Are you back into wrestling after WrestleMania?
I am not as passionate as you and Jamil.
Okay.
I like it. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I watched both nights of WrestleMania. I had an awesome time doing it. I didn't watch Monday Night Raw because I got busy with other stuff and I actually just forgot. And
Yep.
shame on Jamil. I'm putting it all on him. It has nothing to do with me. No responsibility whatsoever taken. No ownership. He didn't text me. so I forgot. But no, man, I enjoyed it, man. I thought WrestleMania was really cool to watch. Me and the kids watched it together, and it was just kind of for me, man, it was a lighthearted, fun experience. Of just watching it and having a good time. My youngest was really getting into it, and the storylines were really cool. And yeah, man, you can see that it's choreographed or planned or set up, however you want to say it. But it was still fun, dude. It was entertainment, man. So I really enjoyed it. I thought they did some cool storylines. Obviously, with some of the stuff that we predicted happened.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a question to shoot back at you. Does that ever get old as a wrestling fan where you like kind of know what's going to happen?
No, because I mean, it's what's going to happen for the most part. It's their presentation of how it happens. You know what I'm saying? You watch most shows and you know what's going to happen. Like, how many times have you gone through a movie and you're like, oh, okay, I can see what's coming on, about to happen, but it's about how the movie presents it. Yeah. Same thing with wrestling. It's the same thing. It's just how it's presented and things like that.
I mean, we got the last sequence of the end of WrestleMania almost down to a T. I don't know if we did it on the show, but
we were texting.
It was over text or something, right? Like, and I don't know if it was you or somebody had said, well, this is what's going to happen, and this person's going to come out, and then this person, and then this person, and this person.
Yep.
And it happened almost to a T. The only wrench in it was the Undertaker instead of Stone Cold.
Yep, that was the only thing we messed up when we were predicting who was coming out. Once we saw the first one happen, it was like, okay, so this is going to happen next. This is going to happen next.
Yep.
But that's what I mean by the presentation. Everyone's expecting Stone Cold, and yes, he would have got a big pop when he would have came out. Mm-hmm. But everyone's reaction when it was the actual Undertaker that came out was even better, in my opinion. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if it's better. I don't know if it's better. I heard they couldn't get Stone Cold because he didn't want to be one of a few. He wanted to be one of one.
Because here's the thing with Stone Cold. If you do Stone Cold, to make him actually be Stone Cold, he has to stun Cody at the end. That's what he has to do. He has to stun everybody in the ring. That's just what Stone Cold does. So for it being the Undertaker, he shows up and like straightens everything up. And then it's like, okay. And I love the way they did the whole story because The Rock hitting Seth Rollins or not The Rock, Roman Reigns hitting Seth Rollins with the chair instead of Cody. Like, I don't know if you know the whole backstory on that.
I don't.
Okay, so they were the Shield. It was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose or John Moxley, what his name is now. Triple H, they had just beaten Triple H and a few people in the ring, and Triple H said, that's okay, there's always a plan B. And Seth Rollins hits Roman Reigns in the back with the chair.
Oh!
So that storyline gets wrapped up because Roman has the choice. I can take out Cody. Oh, Seth Rollins hits me in the back with the chair. Let me get this square. And so he finally gets his revenge on that. And it goes even deeper than that because Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins actually had a match to where the match ended in disqualification because Roman Reigns never got over the fact that Seth Rollins turned on him. So he gets Rollins in the ring and he just keeps beating him after the referee says break and it ends in a DQ.
Nice.
So part of the storyline building on that is that's the one thing that's Roman Reigns' one weakness is that he never got over that one moment.
Okay. All right.
So it was such brilliant storytelling in that moment with it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, man. I actually had my neighbor over and he's not a wrestling guy or whatever, but we all watched it together and had some beers and it was awesome, dude. Like he even my neighbor who is totally not the wrestling type of guy. We're talking not okay, I'm a bearded guy, but I'm talking the other kind of bearded guy with the flannel and drinks like the IPAs.
Gotcha.
You know who I'm talking about. You know the IPA guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So totally not a wrestling kind of guy. But he enjoyed it, man. He was like, yeah, this was fun, dude. It was, he said the same thing I said, just kind of a lighthearted Yeah, so
Mhm.
what? It's fake, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, and like
And I don't like
I'm
calling it fake. I don't like calling it fake.
yeah, it's so just we'll touch. I'm going to touch on that just for a second,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm passionate. I love watching WWE. I don't go out of my way to watch every Monday and every Friday.
Mm.
I watch the recap shows and I just try to keep up with it that way. Like I don't stop my day to watch WWE. I just keep up with the storylines when I need to and things like that. So it's not like, oh, it's Friday 7 o'clock. I got to go watch SmackDown. That's not me. And like even if I watch Raw, I don't watch Raw for 3 hours.
Why did they move SmackDown to Friday? I'm never gonna watch that.
I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know if it was because when they went to Fox, Fox wanted to fill that time slot at the time. So I'm not 100% sure.
I just think it was a mistake because I am never gonna stay home on Friday night and watch wrestling.
I mean, football season's coming up too, so I ain't gonna be on the sideline with my phone out. Oh, what's going on SmackDown? You know, ain't something I'm really be worried about on a Friday night or anything like that.
Right.
But and then we talked about it not being, or we talked about it being fake and everything else. Yes, it's scripted. Yes, it's rehearsed. Most TV shows are. But I'm sure you haven't seen the news that Rhea Ripley, my girl, had to give up her title.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she suffered an injury in the back. I believe it's a broken collarbone or something with her shoulder, is my guess.
Yeah, that's thanks to you and Jamil. I have all these notifications that pop up on my phone now. So,
and you didn't like Rhea Ripley's entrance. I loved it at WrestleMania.
Rhea Ripley's not it for me, buddy.
Man, I'm just telling you, man.
She ain't it for me, buddy. No.
I love the energy she brought with that entrance.
I thought they all performed really well. Like I'm not gonna detract from any of their performances. I thought they all did an awesome job, man.
Yeah.
Like they all are there, and like you could tell what was cool about it is yes, it's scripted. Let's call it scripted instead of fake. Mm-hmm. It's scripted, but you could tell them walking in at the link and looking up at the crowd, and you can tell that they know that it's a big moment, right? And you could see it in all of their eyes. I mean, KO actually, which I think I'm going to be KO for Halloween. I got the look, man. I could do the little face.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, so KO walking in, like when he did his thing and he picked up the other dude with the golf cart and everything, I was like, that's cool. I like that.
It was. And they got a new storyline going with the Bloodline, man. It's going to be, they're setting it up for next WrestleMania for the new Bloodline. There's almost like a new faction of the Bloodline forming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Solo turned on his brother on SmackDown, and they brought whose son was it? I think Umaga's son, another person that's formerly in the Bloodline, an old wrestler. His son's in it, and then they beat up Jimmy Uso, and Paul Heyman was in the ring, and he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "It's orders from the tribal chief." My belief is The Rock is now trying to say he's the tribal chief behind the scenes, ordering this type of stuff to happen. So what I think is going to happen is you're going to get The Rock, Solo, and this new guy, I can't remember what his full name is, versus the Usos are going to reunite with Roman, and you'll get a 6-man type Survivor Series type thing going on with the Bloodline type deal. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know for sure.
Has Roman been around much since? Or is he
No, he hasn't shown up. He did an online thing where he was on a treadmill and he just looked at the camera and scoffed, kind of. Yeah, that's been his thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I got a prediction that the fans are going to be tired of Cody after 6 months.
I'm tired of him now.
Yeah, there's no storyline with him. There's no more storyline with Cody, man. Like, what do you do? He won the title. Okay, now what? You know what I'm saying? There's no storyline he's involved in.
So while I was watching WrestleMania or whatever, my neighbor, like I'm watching and I'm cheering for who I cheer for. And like, honestly, I'm still kind of learning. Like I told you, like I learned some from the video game and I had watched some YouTube and, I'd learned some of the backstory and all that. But for the most part, I'm seeing a lot of these guys for the first time live ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of picking, well, I kind of like him, man. So my neighbor looks at me and he's like, you like the bad guys? I'm like, yeah, I like the bad guys. Yeah, just the way it is.
It just
I'm the
is,
same
man.
way. I'm the same way with Star Wars, man. I like the bad guys. Like,
Oh, hell. My online gamer tag is Vader's Fist.
yes.
That's my online gamer tag.
Yes. Let the hate flow through you. Yes.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, that was a great show. I think we can. This
Yep.
is a good place to probably wrap it up. We had a good talk about the draft and wrestling and all kinds of stuff. And you're going to be gone relaxing for a little while after today.
Yep.
So
I will be on a cruise ship, Virgin Voyages. Hit me up.
Yeah, hey, we need a sponsor, which means I need a free cruise. Man, we gotta get our views up. If we get our views
know.
up, maybe we can get some sponsors and get some free shit.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Got to get it going.
All right, man. Thank you so much. You want to hit them with your tagline there at the end?
Yep. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Take care of each other. Everybody help each other out.
All right, be safe, brother.